This episode of this podcast is brought to you in part by Lisa. A quality night's sleep helps you prevent burnout, make better decisions, and improve your memory. To design a better mattress, Lisa leveraged 30-plus years of experience and hundreds of hours of testing to develop the perfect mattress for all body shapes and sleeping styles. And hey, through their 110 program, they'll donate one mattress for every 10 they sell, and together with the Arbor Day Foundation, Lisa plants one tree for every mattress sold. Don't miss these summer savings. Get $160 off a Lisa mattress at leesa.com/bombcast.
Hi, it's Tuesday, August the 7th, 2018.
Hi.
This is the Giant Bombcast. It finally happened.
It is.
Somebody from this website
What?
went to Evo.
Oh God!
Oh.
Yeah.
After
I had a great time there.
how many years?
I've
Has
been
it been?
I've been wanting to go for since I started.
Yeah,
here.
tell us all
I've
about
been there
it.
a couple times.
Yeah.
I didn't go.
Aw.
I didn't go.
Aw.
Yeah.
Jeff went.
Yeah, no.
Jeff had
no.
a good time.
I was
I
there.
had
Brett.
I had a great.
I went to the aquarium.
I washed out in the quarterfinals, unfortunately.
I'm sorry.
Yeah,
I was
let's
rooting for
bring
you
in Matt
at
Rory.
home,
He's gonna be here to talk all about Evo.
That's
Did
right.
you see any orcas?
No orcas.
Yeah.
No, but I touched like a bat ray.
Whoa.
Oh, are those the
Why is it a bat?
like man?
Ray.
Are they
Like
like
a
manta
manta
rays?
ray,
When
yeah,
it swings,
yeah.
it goes dun,
Does it
dun,
fly?
dun, 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 dun.
No, it doesn't. It looks like it could.
Hmm.
It was weird, man. I'd been playing a bunch of No Man's Sky and then went out into nature and had this feeling of just like, yeah, I guess maybe it is that fucked up out here.
Did you encounter any boiling rain while you were out there?
No, unfortunately.
You were like, why aren't all these plants red?
right. Yeah.
Did a friend steal your computer and then hide it underground?
Yeah, that did happen a couple of times.
It wasn't the computer. It was the blueprint analyzer.
I got it back.
Which aquarium did you go to?
Monterey.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Ooh,
went down
that's
to
the one.
Yeah, I went down to the big one.
That's
a
that is the one.
lot of kids
Yeah.
running around the aquarium.
Uh-huh.
Did you touch
Uh,
starfish?
Did you bring any home? Or?
No, we were looking for starfish to touch, but they did not have. We couldn't find any. We were told that they had some in a different area. We went to that different area and didn't see any over there. A lot of Turkish towels, if you know what I mean. I don't know. They just
Nope.
like they kept talking,
Nope.
like there were kept being signs for like, hey, do you want to touch some Turkish towel? And it just sounded like drug code.
What?
Yeah.
I was like, you want to touch this Turkish towel?
No, I don't want to get the residue on my hand. I gotta go to the airport
You can get it-
later.
you can get it delivered right to your house.
Things get
Download
a
this
little things get a little seedy down on Cannery Row.
app. Yeah, definitely. Definitely.
You looking for a good time?
I was looking for a good time, but instead we found a bunch of like tourist trap
Yeah.
type candy shops that were just
Yeah.
like, we also have fun sized Snickers for sale.
Yeah.
I'm like,
We went to Monterey a few years ago and decided there's about 18 hours worth of stuff to do there,
yeah. Oh, yeah,
And
we
that's
ended up
it.
Yep.
and you got to get out.
Yeah, we got out. And then I ended up by a pool, and that was very nice.
That's a good place to
I had
be.
a hamburger by a pool. It was a good vacation.
Man,
Yeah.
wow, that sounds pretty good.
Yeah, it was pretty good.
That sounds better than Evo. But let's talk about Evo.
Sure, yeah.
Who
Let's
went
talk
to
about Evo.
guys-
Jan and I
I went to Evo.
went to
Oh,
Evo.
okay.
So did Ben.
That's awesome.
Finally,
Yeah.
Yes.
we figured this out.
Did anyone ask about me?
Tons of people.
Yeah,
asked
Okay.
totally.
about you.
Okay.
They didn't care that I was there. They were like, "Where's Jason and Jeff?"
Yeah.
Okay.
And then they told me, "Wow, Ben is really tall."
Oh yeah.
There were a lot of experiments that needed minding back here. Some scientists had to
you
remain
can't-
in the lab.
We can send out a junior scientist.
right.
But like, I can't have my science tainted by this external stimuli. We're already really good at ignoring Ben's suggestions on ranking of fighters. So
Yeah.
if he comes in and says like, no, Super Turbo's good actually, it's very easy to say the science says it's maybe not.
Don't worry, I
We'll see.
didn't let him summon the list at all while he was there.
I
Great.
tried.
Yeah,
I kept his hands
he kept
down.
trying to summon the
I
list.
was-
That's
During grand finals, I was just like getting hype, and I was like, "Oh no, I don't want to accidentally summon the list here."
Yeah, we weren't even sitting near each other, but I just kept yelling, "Hand check, hand check, hand
Yeah.
check." And then like these other people started raising their hands,
Oh,
but
that's a weird. Yeah.
but Ben felt it.
Okay, good.
Yeah.
So I've been to a few Evos. This is probably my 5th, I think. Jan, this was your first. What
This
did
was
you
my first
think?
I didn't
Did we
really.
convert you?
I think I'm still terrible at fighting games. But
But do you like watching them now?
yes.
Do you feel the need to maybe play some fighting games?
I'm kind of feeling like I should.
Yeah.
Specifically the Dragon Ball type.
Yeah.
But I didn't realize
This is
how.
a game called Ultimate Battle 22.
Okay.
Sometimes 27.
Sometimes 27.
The 27 part,
yeah.
that's very alluring.
And you can check it out. It's got Goku.
Yeah.
It's got another Goku.
Does
How
it
do-
have Kid Goku?
I believe it does.
Probably.
Sold.
Yeah.
Okay.
But I didn't realize how international Evo was. Like, I
Totally.
realized there were Asian players and a bunch of American players, but I didn't realize, like, there were
The
so
most
many people from
prestigious
Europe.
fighting game event in the world.
Exactly. There were, like, a bunch of people from Brazil. There were
Yeah.
so many people speaking different languages and, like, getting so hyped and, like, all fairly friendly with each other about, competing against each other
Yeah.
in all the games and whatnot.
Mm-hmm.
And so many people with different jerseys.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I've
A lot of
definitely noticed a
sponsorships.
huge uptick of actual people wearing esports jerseys.
Right.
at
I mean,
the
are all the big
show
teams
floor.
involved? Like
Yeah, there's like Liquid,
like
CLG,
names you know from other games.
Yeah.
TSM,
Cloud9.
Yeah.
Wow. Huh.
Yeah.
Secret.
Wow. What? Really?
Yeah, there's a
Roll-On?
Melee player sponsored by Secret now.
Huh.
Got top 8.
Interesting.
From Ban?
Okay, hang on. All right, Daigo, Jay Wong. That's all I got.
So here's the thing.
Are even players are players that even I know sponsored by teams,
Oh, well,
or are they
Daigo's
independent?
sponsored by like 6 different teams.
Okay.
He's got his own team.
I see.
Yeah.
So that's the thing I kind of realized about this year is a lot of those old school guys are just there for the business now. Daigo is there like he's with Games, which has like an esports. Yeah, Daigo had a team of cheerleaders following him around the entire weekend.
Okay.
The Beasties
Like
or
legit cheerleaders,
something. Male and female.
Yeah, totally.
Yeah.
Like a dance squad.
Entourage.
We saw them
Yeah.
practicing. Like
we were going to an interview, and then Ben told me to meet him by the media booth, and then I went to the media booth, and all I saw were cheerleaders dancing, and I thought he had lured me into like battling these cheerleaders.
yeah.
But that was
Are
crazy.
you ready
too.
to bring it on?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, this Evo was a lot of fun.
Let's see your first time at the Mandalay.
Yeah, so last year they moved everything to Mandalay Bay, which I don't know if you've ever been there. The convention center is fucking huge. There was, I don't know how to accurately measure space, but it took us a long time
Okay,
from
was
walk to
it
walk.
bigger than this room?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Wow.
I'm trying to draw a comparison, but it was huge. There were tons of people. There was different areas with setups. There was
What kind of
Artist
setups are we talking
alley.
about? Because they have this 6 main games. Like how many other games?
five games on Sunday.
Right.
So the big games that ran through Finals Day were Guilty Gear,
Yep.
Melee, Tekken 7, Dragon Ball
Wow.
Fighters, and Street Fighter. But then in addition to that, you had pools for a lot of other games that ended on Saturday, like
Yep.
Cross Tag Battle, Smash 4.
Super Smash. Yeah.
Yeah.
How many stages do they have going concurrently?
So during Pools Day, during Fridays and Saturdays, you got one big main stage and 2 side stages. One side stage was dedicated the whole weekend to the Anime Evo games. There were like 21 games, including like TMNT Tournament Fighters and Sailor Moon and Puyo Puyo Tetris,
Hokuto
and
no Ken.
Rivals of Aether
Yeah.
and shit like that.
Ninja Turtles is anime.
So
the
anime.
Anime
Yes.
Evo umbrella takes all wayward games. It takes all wayward fighting games. Anyone who needs a
Like
home.
King of Fighters was there.
Yeah.
Which
Catherine.
like, offended me on a certain level. I was like, oh man.
Marvel.
Yeah.
Ran into like a Marvel 2 setup, and there's a bunch of just like dads playing Marvel 2 over in a corner somewhere. It's
So
great.
did it feel like, like you were talking about like people like Daigo, like people there for the business, like the kind of old
How old is Daigo?
It's gonna be in his 30s, mid 30s.
Like
I guess.
is it like all other esports where you age out past like say 25?
Most.
Fighting games actually have a bit of a longer road,
Yeah.
because so much of it is based on like being able to read your opponents,
Right.
which is a skill that can get better with age.
Yeah,
Right.
he's 37.
Okay. Yeah.
wow.
Wow. He's pushing 40. Then that's That's impressive because, I mean, he was putting on an exhibition.
But like, a guy like that is there largely for exhibition purposes,
Yes.
right? I mean, did he enter?
Yeah, he
I'm
entered.
sure.
So he does still enter. Okay,
yeah.
all right. I would wonder at some point if he's just like, it's a young man's game. I'm here to have these cheerleaders and sign stuff, or whatever.
So that's the thing, though. He can, play for, like, he'll have his pools for a 2-hour span and then go do some business stuff. And then if he makes it out of pools, that's another 2 hours maybe of waiting around. So not that big of a time investment.
See, I would think about it in terms of just like, is he likely to make top 8? Is he likely to
There's
go
still that
I
all
would
the
say
way?
it's not unlikely.
Okay.
Yeah.
Because that would be the thing of just like, at some point, Daigo is Daigo. And if Daigo is not Daigo anymore, at some point you go like, I'm not going to enter anymore. I'm just going to walk around with these cheerleaders and be like, and let the mystique carry this business along. But yeah, I don't know. I mean, he's better than I'll ever be.
Yeah,
for sure,
no,
but-
and I mean, even like people like Alex Valle are still entering and taking out really good players, and you see it every once in a while where just like, and even like Taquito's probably not that much younger than Daigo, and he made it to grand finals,
Yeah.
in Street Fighter 5.
Yeah.
Admittedly, he's doing less business stuff probably, but he's still part of the same team, part of the same sponsorship, probably making some appearances here and there.
Yeah.
But yeah, so Evo's fun because the first 2 days are, you go, you play in your pool, you go 1-2, 0-2, or whatever. You maybe sleep through your 8 a.m., 9 a.m. pool if you party a little too hard the night before. But you go around, it's basically a convention.
Yeah, totally. They had like a bunch of booths of people selling arcade parts, those newer mini arcade units they're selling. And there was that indie booth.
The mix is there.
Yeah,
and
that was
has a
really
bunch
good.
of indie
Fun.
games.
Yeah.
Like
There's like
non-fighting games?
some fighting games, some non-fighting games. Basically,
Like
we-
primarily competitive games.
Yeah,
I would
we
assume.
talked to the dude running it, and he was basically talking about it's something, stuff that keeps the same spirit of fighting games alive.
In a world where Catherine is on a stage somewhere, like and Windjammers and stuff like that, I feel like even Evo has opened up a lot.
Totally.
Uh,
And then Sunday is basically just, let's see, I got there at 8, and Street Fighter ended at, well, I didn't stay for everything. I came in and out for certain games, but it was probably like 13, 14 hours straight.
I did not realize how long of a day that was going to be.
Is that so? Finals day, is it all on the same stage, one game after the other?
It's in the Mandalay Bay like main
Event
center where they have
Okay.
MMA fights and stuff like that.
So every game gets its spotlight, basically.
Yeah, top 8.
Okay.
It's just 5 top 8s back
Okay.
to back.
Okay.
With the exception of like the couple games that had their finals on Saturday.
Yeah.
Not all
Okay.
the games.
Some of
made
the
it
smaller
to
games.
Sunday.
but the big 5
Yeah.
get there.
And it was a really, I would say it was a really solid Evo, like from in terms of a viewing experience overall. Not a ton of like huge shocking surprises or upsets. Not a ton of like drama. There was stuff here and there. Just a lot of really solid fighting games being played. Going from Guilty Gear to Street Fighter 5, like Jan said, there was a huge spread of international players, like making it in games that they would be considered like not strong in. We had some Americans doing well in getting top
Tekken.
3 in Guilty
Yeah.
Gear and top 4 in Tekken, and
That was almost unheard of. Yeah, it's
Yeah.
been such a long time since there's been an American, getting that far in Tekken. That
beating
was-
like really good Korean players and
Yep.
Japanese players. A European player won Street Fighter, which
I want to say most of the games that were won, they were won by different countries. I don't know if that was the same across the board.
we had a
but-
European win Street Fighter, we had an American win Dragon Ball, Korean won Tekken, a Swede won Melee,
Melee.
and a Japanese player won Guilty Gear.
That's-
Totally across the board, 5 different, which is a long way from mostly Japan and maybe America wins Mortal Kombat.
Yep.
of Evo's prior.
I found it insane that the whole stadium would erupt whenever like an American player was doing very well, and everyone just started shouting "USA, USA." It felt like I was at like a wrestling show.
Totally. Yeah. I'm not necessarily one for huge displays of nationalism, but there is something it's like the only place where you can just really get behind somebody you don't know anything about just because they speak the same language.
They're from
as
here,
you.
yeah.
If I got to root between these two guys, I know very little about. I'm gonna root for that guy because
I usually
America.
go with whoever the player is that looks like has the tougher looking face.
Yeah, there was a lot of really good, tough looking faces.
Good tough faces.
Like,
this
yeah.
year.
Those
I
are
like
always
this one.
the factors for me going to the international because the teams change so much every year. You don't know who to root for if you don't keep up with it all the time. So it was nationality, underdog status,
Yep.
and who has the most ridiculous name.
Yeah, those three, and then another one, a big one for me is like anyone who picks the same character that I play.
Yeah.
Or just a ridiculous character.
Yeah,
There's
like
a
anyone who
panda
picks.
in Tekken.
Yeah.
this year.
Wow, and how far
Top
did a panda player get?
Fourth,
Top 8.
Fucking cool.
fourth or fifth.
Yep.
Yeah.
All right, that's
and
neat.
And Panda's considered a very low tier character as well. So
Like one of the first matches of Tekken was a panda versus a Jack 7 player, and it was just like, okay,
There we go.
fuck yeah,
Yeah, awesome.
So yeah, like it was really cool.
you know, who had a really tough face. Goichi. And
Koichi.
Oh, man.
he normally doesn't have such a tough face. He has a very happy-go-lucky face. But he had just been stomping the hell out of Sonic Fox. This is in Dragon Ball Fighters.
Well, so Sonic Fox beat him in winners finals and did not lose a single character.
Yeah.
He 3-0'd him without losing a single character. Goichi works his way through losers, meets Sonic Fox again in grand finals, and gets stomped. Sonic Fox gets stomped game 1. Goes 0-3, right?
Yeah.
And then, you know, I was watching this. I was watching at this point, and there was a delay, and they were kind of talking back and forth, and then they had to bring in translators. And so what ended up happening was Sonic Fox requested a side switch. He wanted to play player 1 side because later he would tweet out in his own words that he feels more comfortable on player 1 because, you know, think about it, when you're in a training mode, you're on player 1. When you're playing online, you're player 1. Like, most players in pretty much every fighting game are more comfortable on player 1. Certain games like Tekken have an ability to mirror it, so you're both on player 1, each on your own monitor.
Right.
But Dragon Ball does not have that built in. So they had to call over the founders, you know, get the refs in, go to the rule books, and turns out
Dust off the old rule books.
it is in the rules that
totally is,
even
yeah.
after a reset, you can request a switch. So what they did was they made him call a coin flip. And so Sonic Fox called Tails, won, got player 1.
Of course, Sonic Fox would call Tails.
And ended up taking it. And, you know, people were like, oh, he's trying to ice him, you know.
Totally, of course. That's
And
what
he was
trying to
like,
do.
fuck yeah, I am. You know, I'm out there. It's Evo Grand Finals. I'm going to do anything that's legal, anything that's in the rules.
Fucking rules.
That's like
It's been in the rules for a long time.
Yeah.
sounds like a
Not that
load.
it's been like enacted in, you know, a long ass time.
No,
you know,
but
it was originally
That's like a
for
very
like, you know, being more comfortable on a side, like on an arcade machine.
Yeah,
you know,
yeah.
something
that
like
still sounds like a very low key heel turn to me.
It was
Like people are gonna look at that and be like, "That's a little underhanded, man." Like,
Oh, there was definitely a section of the audience that turned on Sonic Fox after
That's
he
funny.
asked for the side switch. People were like super disappointed that he lost that first round, and then after the bracket reset, when he switched sides, they were like, "Oh no, I can't get down with Sonic Fox
so
anymore."
what ended up happening after he switched?
he creamed him.
Annihilated him.
3-0.
And
That was the finals.
yes,
Yeah.
that was grand finals. He got 2. Goichi in the set had 2 Shenron summons. There was like moments where there was a clip of him blocking for 25 seconds straight, like different mix-ups, just in the corner, blocking everything, teching throws. It was just an insane display of high technical skill. I liken it to. I was talking to my friends about it, and in Dragon Ball Z, in the show, when normal people watch the characters in Dragon Ball Z fight, it's just like a bunch of things clashing against each other, and it's impossible to follow. And that was, I would say, 50% of the audience.
Yeah.
And then the 50% of the audience who have a little bit of experience are like characters like Yamcha or Tien, who watch the fights happen, and they're like, we still can't really follow what's
sort of
going on,
see-
but we know
yeah.
like they're really strong.
Yeah.
Those 2 dudes are kicking each other's ass at a level I cannot comprehend. And that was the other 50% of the audience. Because, yeah, I don't know about you, Jan. How did you feel going through top 8? Were you able to kind of understand what was going on by the end? Or
Yeah, definitely. I was definitely getting the vibe of like which characters are probably top tier versus lower tier, and seeing someone being able to block for 20 plus seconds seemed insane.
Yeah.
And there were definitely a bunch of rumblings around me of people saying like, "Oh, that's hot. That person's a great player
Yeah.
at that point." But yeah, I think after the first couple rounds and matches, I was able to get a feel for, okay, these guys are unheard of.
Sometimes tag games are hard to follow.
Yeah,
I
In
was
terms of just
yeah.
you know, which character is on what team. Like, you know, it's.
I mean, I was
or it's just super fast. Like try and
yeah,
commentate like a
right.
melee game or something like that. That's insane.
I was going to ask if you guys agree that Dragon Ball is a higher degree of
spectator.
difficult to follow than just about any other current fighting game.
I feel like I've played
there's
just enough of it to where
I mean, obviously, if
can
you're deep
follow
into
it,
it, but as a casual observer, I mean,
yeah, outside looking in,
like there's just enough like screen filling effects,
yeah, it's
and
the
just
same,
like
same as
instant
Marvel. It's
transmissions.
it's the same as Marvel. You've got like a bunch of wild shit happening on the screens and characters jumping in and out to a point where you're like, and multiple life bars. So it's not even as immediately obvious who's winning until one character gets knocked out, and you're like, okay, that I can follow.
Yeah.
But yeah, this matchup was the only thing I saw anyone talking about.
I was gonna say, like, so I watched 0 minutes of Evo, but I saw a number of people talking about it, and my impression is Dragon Ball people seem way more into Dragon Ball than they were Street Fighter.
Totally, yeah. It definitely got it got the most entrants of any game at Evo. It shattered the previous Twitch records for Evo, I believe. Previously the high was like 170,000,
and it's
Dragon
also
Ball.
I think it's now like the official most watched, like it's the highest watched game on Twitch.
Yeah.
Like overall.
Really?
Because since as they're running that stream, they switched the game name. Like Dragon Ball was the number one, and it was the highest concurrence.
Yeah, it was
any
beating
game ever on
Fortnite.
Twitch.
Ever?
Yeah, ever.
You
know, it's finals day for Evo. You're gonna have
I guess so.
a mass of people watching that one stream anyway.
Yeah.
But also Dragon Ball's popular.
Yeah, and yeah, it got a pretty good time slot where, you know, it was started around like 4 or 5, so East Coast could watch it at a reasonable hour. That's the thing, is there's always usually delays, and then by the time Street Fighter started, there had been a bunch of resets and, you know, short delays, and it was pretty late. The Street Fighter finals were great, though, as somebody who will play any Street Fighter or follow the scene really.
Good assortment of characters and countries.
Yeah, seeing a Bison like tear shit up like Problem X, the eventual winner, was great, because I had never really seen him do his thing.
Yeah.
Some good Abigail play, like there was just, and then
Good
like
Abigail play. No, actually, yeah, Cool Kid did really, really well.
Yeah.
With Abigail, I watched some of his matches from Saturday, and he was just making, like, even Seth Killian was just like, wow, this guy's just really good. Like, he's not relying on typical Abigail bullshit. You know,
Right.
you can tell that he's making really good calls, and it was fun to watch.
So I'll say the group I was with was primarily Melee players, who kind of know a little bit about other games. And I would say, talking to them afterwards, the easiest game and the most hype for them to follow was Tekken. Because once they, like, I've told them, like, okay, they're like, okay, well, tell me a little bit about Tekken. And I was like, okay, each of the buttons is a limb, and they punch each other a lot.
Yeah.
There you go.
Yeah.
And then, sure enough, like, Little Majin, the King player, was the first game of the match, and he just started doing some crazy shit, and it was like, it made me really appreciate Tekken again. I feel like every time I watch Tekken, I'm just like, man, Tekken fucking rules.
Yes, it does.
High level Tekken play goes one of two ways. Either you're like, Tekken fucking rules, or you're like, man, that guy got touched once made one mistake, and the round is over.
Yeah.
I think it definitely benefits by being 3 out of 5 for that reason.
Yep.
Seeing the amount of top 8 players that also played with a pad was fairly interesting.
Yeah, a lot of pad players coming out this year. Sonic Fox, Problem X, I think, was using pad.
Is it just anything goes in terms of what you want to play on? Like literally any stick, any pad?
Well,
or?
there's restrictions. Like they wouldn't allow kick boxes for a little while, or hit boxes. Right?
Those are allowed in
they are now,
except
but there was
Melee.
there was a while that it
Just in Melee.
What is that?
There was a very small time in which like you'd hold left and right, and it would block both ways in Marvel.
Yeah.
That was quickly kind of fixed up. Yeah. I
It's
can't think of any
got 4
tournaments that it
buttons
was like,
instead of a joystick.
oh yeah.
It's like a WASD
Yeah.
instead of
yeah.
So
Kind of like just using a keyboard.
Yeah.
So a lot of it's really useful in anime fight in games with air dashes, because you can do like instant air dashes really fast. Instead of like hitting up forward on a joystick, which is easy to miss, you just tap up and then tap up forward. So it's, you know, much faster on the fingers. Which is funny because you see, like, there was that dude who played Dragon Ball Fighters on a Rock Band keyboard, and another dude who played it on a Guitar Hero guitar, who were like taking games. you get to see a lot of that fun stuff in pools when you walk around and just see people with their
doing their weird
shit. Yeah.
So I want to see how far I can get with this fucking controller.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's cool.
But yeah, it was just a really solid tournament overall. Top 8s are all available to watch. It was definitely different watching in-house because they don't pipe the commentary through, but they do this year had a pair of kind of on-stage commentators.
Yeah.
Were they more hype man, or were they actually doing play-by-play?
They weren't doing play-by-play. So like for Dragon Ball, it was Hell Pockets and Tasty Steve. Doing their like screaming. Hype shit, getting the crowd to yell along with Cell when Cell does his intro where he screams.
So there is a separate commentary feed that goes out over the stream?
So what I was watching at home was like Sajam and
Yipes.
Yeah, that was doing commentary for Dragon Ball.
Is that just
and they were doing more of the traditional play-by-play stuff.
Is it just a community expectation thing? Like, people like,
last year it didn't go so well. So they were having the on-screen commentators, that were going out to the stream also pumped into the house as well. Commentators didn't like it. I don't think the crowd liked it because it was kind of disjointed.
Yeah. Is that just like a case of the audience being so familiar with the games they don't need it? Because like I can't imagine going to the international and not having commentary for the match.
Yeah, most of the people that are going out to Evo
are
familiar with these games for sure. People that are just tuning in would probably need a gentler hand.
Yeah.
A gentler voice, I guess, kind of explaining what's going on.
Sure.
Yeah, and then it was really cool being in the crowd for a lot of those announcements. There were a lot of really cool announcements, and I don't know anything about the characters that they showed off in Tekken, but the Tekken fans in the stadium were going fucking wild, and it was cool being there for the energy off of that.
It was like Anna and Lei.
Yep.
And
what
Negan?
Walking Dead character coming to Tekken?
Negan from Walking Dead.
I don't know anything about Walking Dead.
He's got a bat with
mean
barbed
motherfucker.
wire.
In the comics, he is fucking evil
Is
incarnate.
it a comics guy, not a TV show guy?
No, he's eventually made it to the TV show.
Okay.
He's pretty fucking nasty in that show too, but
he's a mean man.
Is it the likeness from the TV show? Or
I don't know.
is it-
They just showed silhouettes.
Okay.
But they had his voice, so who knows? Negan from The Walking Dead is going to be in
of course
Tekken.
Who are the previous Tekken guest characters?
Akuma.
Geese Howard.
That Final
Noctis.
Fantasy character.
Right, Noctis. Jeez, what a weird motley
Yeah.
assortment.
I saw a lot of
Noctis
Geese
was
players
out
tearing
there.
it up.
That's cool.
Yeah.
Big week for Terry Bogard,
Yo,
Yeah. Fuck yeah.
it's been.
it seems.
It's been a time for him this past week. Yeah,
And her.
fighting. Yeah.
Both
Oh
Terry.
yeah.
Terry and Terry Bogard.
Right. Fighting Extreme Lair.
Fighting EX Layer.
He's going to show up in that game.
Yeah.
And he's also going to show up.
And
As
then
SNK
she-
hero.
she will be joining
Yep.
SNK. What is it? SNK
Heroines.
Heroines? Is that the name?
Heroines. Yes. That game is creepy,
Mm.
but that pre-order bonus is really cool.
Did you get the hat?
You get the hat. It says Fatal Cutie on it.
Yeah, it's pretty good.
Oh my god.
I would wear that hat.
I've made a really bad Busty Wolf joke on Twitter afterwards.
Yeah.
I
Nice.
regretted it, but it's out there now.
Yeah.
If you want to favorite it, go for it.
No takebacks.
Yep.
I guess my last question, having been to like multiple internationals and like StarCraft finals in Korea, is what is the setup for the main stage in terms of like crowd? Like those things are in big arenas, right?
Yeah.
Like is this similar to that, or is this more just kind of flat floor with chairs?
No,
set up,
totally.
or-
Yeah. Well, there was a ground floor with some folding chairs. So the main stage this year was different than the first time I went to Mandalay Bay, where it was kind of the stage was in the middle and everyone was around it. This one was pushed all the way against one side and then kind of a U shape of stadium seating with a ground floor of folding chairs. And I would say for Dragon Ball, it was probably, I'd say 95% full.
Wow.
Yeah, so I was sitting on the floor, and I'd say it was probably the most full for Dragon Ball, and then was it Smash or Melee? Melee being second, with the floor being packed.
Yeah. It was a lot of fun. Evo, it's interesting because on one hand, it is getting a little more corporate. It is getting a little more like, a lot of sponsors. It was officially sponsored by Cup of Noodles. Yeah. So you had like Cup of Noodle
I believe it's just
transitions
Cup
on
Noodles,
the stream.
not Cup of
Sorry,
Noodles?
yes, Cup Noodles.
Thank you, stay on brand.
And but also there's still that spirit of just like screaming at the top of your lungs when your favorite players are up there. Like everyone in the audience is getting hype, even if they're not primarily there for different games. You know, my Melee friends were getting hype for Tekken and Dragon Ball, just like feeling the energy of the room. You're not getting the same like analytical look at what's going on. You're not getting, you know, Seth Killian's really good commentary of breaking down exactly what players are doing and thinking. And it's more of like just like a sports experience of just screaming your head off, getting $16 beers, and just going wild.
But thankfully, you know, they still have those first 2 days where there's, you know, a bunch of those side tournaments where they have Anime Evo, where they've got the weird games being played, because Evo has always been, you know, this bringing together of, you know, just fans of fighting games, you know, these like-minded individuals,
large and small.
And as soon as, you know, like those games are like, you know, pushed out by, you know, big corporations or something, that's when I'm out. Like when my love for that tournament like goes
Like,
sour.
where's the, you know, where was the best of best stream?
Right.
You know?
Next year.
Right.
Yeah.
As long as Jackie Chan is being played somewhere.
Right.
I'm sure it is. Yeah. And as long as that continues to be played in some, you know, hotel bathroom or something, you know,
Spirit of
Evo's
Evo
still going to be the big thing.
I definitely think the spirit of Evo is still strong. Just to see all those people bringing their own CRTs,
Right.
Yeah.
Those things are heavy.
Exactly. And I saw a Mickey Mouse one, a Hello Kitty one.
The Hello Kitty one's one of the best.
It's a classic
yeah,
one. The Batman
low
one
lag.
is really good too. I used to have that one.
And then just people just on the floor taking their shoes off,
Yeah.
playing Smash or other fighting games with people they don't know.
Good.
It's cool.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Nice.
Cool. That shit's fun.
We guys shot some interviews.
Yeah.
We'll
Yes.
get that.
Yeah.
That'll,
You
that'll
guys-
be up on the site.
You guys will have some video graphic.
Yeah.
Talk to
Very
you know,
graphic.
one of the canons. Talk to Mr. Wizard, Seth
Cool.
Killian, some
Cool.
other folks.
We asked a couple people whether or not they thought Ryu was a wizard, and the results may surprise you.
Wow.
All right.
Okay.
Yeah.
Stay tuned for that.
Nice.
All right. Guess we'll talk about some non-fighting games.
Yes.
Hey, we can talk about Dead Cells now.
Woo!
Yeah.
Yeah, we can.
Yo,
Holy
Dead Cells
shit.
is really good.
Yeah.
Yep.
It's really good.
Yeah.
Very.
Really good.
Yes.
I told you.
You were right.
Thank you.
Yes.
That's all I wanted to hear. I've been banging the drum for like a year now. I just wanted someone to tell me I was right.
I was a little worried going into it. I'd only started playing it for the first time over the weekend because
Yeah.
I've been waiting for the final release. But
Yeah,
after,
I'm really interested in hearing your thoughts.
after sitting in on the quick look with you, it looked fantastic and I was excited to play it, but I was a little worried about it being a pure combat game, like not so much exploration, although it turns out I was kind of wrong about that. But like, you know, it is mainly a weapon-based combat game. It's not a
with those
traditional-
roguelike elements, you know, with the you know, procedurally generated dungeons and shit. Yeah, it's definitely not about exploration.
like you're not filling out an intricately designed map, right? And well, you are getting items to enable you to get to new places, but it's not a linear story-driven thing. It's a run-based thing, and I was worried that would get repetitive.
Yeah. No.
But they doled out the things you need to start seeing more stuff at just like such an expert pace.
Yeah.
Like just when I thought I was going to get sick of that first 2-3 level run, then you find the first like the vine upgrade.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
And you've been running across these little stumpy vines that have a prompt that says tickle,
Yeah.
for an hour.
And you're like, oh,
And
now
you're like,
this
why
is
the
like
fuck
a-
am I tickling these plants? What is going on here? And then you get that upgrade, and immediately it's like, shit, now I can explore all these new areas and these levels I've been almost getting sick of.
Yeah, that's smart.
Yeah.
And then you start seeing new levels and
And new items too.
Yeah.
Like you're pouring your souls into. You're getting these blueprints, which if you make it to a what is the guy
In
called?
between the collector.
The collector, you can start pouring souls, which is kind of the upgrade currency, into unlocking new weapons, and you start fiddling around with new play styles. Like, am I going to be a melee primarily? Am I going to use traps and items and bows?
Yeah, having that limited like amount of, you know, things at your disposal in the early games really forces you into playing different play styles. I found like after a while, once I unlocked a shitload of stuff, you know, I'd have like one loadout that I really, really liked, and I'd try and strive for something like that. That's when it got a little bit repetitive for me. Whereas I think in those early levels, when it does force you to change things up, I think it's really fun.
Yeah. It's a hell of a game.
it just plays so tightly.
And
Like,
I think like it's the feel of it's fantastic.
Yeah.
And I think that I like the way they generate the levels because it is kind of a straight shot. Like it's not like super exploration based. It's more like anytime you see a teleporter, you know there's probably going to be an optional path down and there'll be something down there.
Yeah, all the little side paths are dead ends to items.
They're
like,
dead ends to another teleporter to
yeah.
take you back up to the main path to carry you through.
You can basically just run left to right to finish a level.
Exactly.
If
and
you're going
there's
off
like
the path,
and there's a
just
like
to get
benefit
stuff.
to speeding through the levels as well.
Yeah,
Yep.
yeah.
If you want to go that way with it.
It's interesting because the levels are random, but there are a lot of common elements. Like
There's some prefab stuff. Sure.
the second level on the first path, the promenade, I think it's called. Like it seems like there's always that time gate right at the beginning, even though the layout is random.
A lot
like
of
you
the
can
levels are
expect-
So that's the thing is what I say. There's a benefit to getting through the levels quickly.
Right.
It's because all the levels have the time gate near the beginning.
Yeah.
but
Yeah,
not
sure,
every,
they're
but
not
not
always near the beginning. But,
does every level have a time gate though?
I believe so.
Okay,
Past the
believe so.
first, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, at least in that case, it's very easy to find. Every time,
Yeah.
it's always been straight down for me.
Well, sometimes it's straight up,
So,
but yes,
yeah.
but that kind of first side path on the second level, if it's the sewers or the promenade, is always going to be that first time gate.
Right.
And I want to say maybe in later levels, I feel like I got to the ramparts and the time gate was maybe like halfway through the level, so
really?
maybe it does kind
does.
of move around.
What
past
I
that, but
what I
yes.
mean is that even though it's randomly generated, it builds in certain things you can count on being
Right.
there, so you can kind of tailor.
Yeah,
how
you
you
can
run
plan
through
like
it.
like
Yeah.
what kind of run do you want to have?
It's like, all right, I'm just gonna bolt through this first level as fast as I can. to
And their
get to that.
dailies are interesting. Like it feels fairly different because it'll be like I want to say it's a little more set loadout on the
Yeah, it
dailies,
is.
right?
It is, yeah. So everyone's on level playing field.
And then it's more about points and stuff. Even like it's scoring you based on what you're killing and how you're
you
doing
get
and
points
all
in
that.
game
Yeah,
for killing
yeah,
stuff.
which is like it feels very different from the standard run, even, which I thought was neat.
I want to touch on just exactly how tight, like it's so easy to fall into the trap of like just saying like, oh, it controls well, but really I'm taking a lot of time to just figure out what exactly feels so good about it, and it's the fact that like animation canceling is so easy. You can roll out of any attack, you can shield out of any attack, you can shield during combos. If you've got two weapons, hitting like 1-2-1-2 is so easy.
Yep.
You know, I my best run just ended like an hour ago, and I had a whip and a sword, and it was just like keeping enemies at mid range, and if they get in on me, roll back and hit them with the sword. It just felt like I had total control. It never felt cheap. It never felt like, oh, I swear I hit a button there, or oh, I just got cheated out and overwhelmed. Like the enemies broadcast their attacks.
They give good tells. Yeah.
Also, you can touch the enemies without taking damage. It's
Yeah.
only when they attack you that it hurts you, but you can like run into them or roll through them without.
Yeah.
So it gives you more flexibility in maneuvering.
It's made by people who really appreciate good controls.
Yeah.
And on the platforming side as well. So you get a double jump right away. It's got a good ledge grab as well, so you're not getting like punished for like just missing, a platform or something like that.
Like ground pound.
Yeah, the ground pound looks really
Real
good.
good.
Killer.
Lets you, oh man, you can upgrade that later.
Yeah.
You're gonna
Oh, neat.
burst out flames.
And then all the ways to combo different effects and weapons, like you get damage amplifiers and
Good
like
synergy,
elemental
yeah.
attacks that combo in different ways.
Yeah.
Like, certain weapons that auto target.
Or like
it's
a
just-
ground pound that covers the ground in oil, and then
Yeah.
if you have a flammable attack after that, you can light up an area. Like
Yeah.
there's a lot of cool fucking shit there. Have you? I just played the final PC build last night, and this might be the only platform that has it. But have you seen all of the streaming stuff? In
No,
there?
not yet. I've seen some
So-
screenshots of it.
It's got like Twitch chat interaction with like, oh, one player can control a boss from
Oh,
your chat.
what?
Cool.
Like they can, kind of spam things in chat and it'll select a player at random, I guess, of players who have opted in. And so players can vote about which area you go to. You can have one player who, if they're selected at random, their messages appear on your screen while you're playing.
Cool.
I'm
sure that'll go well.
Well, yeah. There's like 7 or 8 different options that you can kind of turn on and off individually. Like it's pretty granular for what you can have players control or not.
I'll check that out.
I didn't actually get in and do it, but I was just looking at the list last night. I was like, oh, this was totally not in the game the last time I loaded it up.
Right.
I think I saw the PC version has official mod support.
Yes, it does.
Also?
Yeah.
Really?
So
Is that
people
Steam
have-
Workshop or is
it is, yeah.
Wow.
And so
Wow.
people have modded in, let's say, the music from Castlevania. If you,
Yeah,
if you would like that.
I think don't they literally use the word Castlevania somewhere in the options where you can
they
select
don't.
the
It's not quite. It's
or did they misspell it a little bit?
yeah, because
Okay.
you choose what you want the food to look like.
Yeah.
which is just
And-
cosmetic.
So you can
And there's like 6 options.
Yeah, that's one of my favorite menu options of a video game.
Like you can make the food look like meat, vegetarian,
bread.
Castlevania, baguette.
yeah.
Yeah.
I love the look of the main character. Like,
Yeah.
just the animation. I think
Everything-
The way
that's
he
fantastic.
emotes, like when he's talking to
very emotive, just
people.
like kicking doors, going,
Yeah.
just
Yeah,
shrugging
lots
his
of
shoulders,
thumbs
like,
ups.
yeah,
good
it's like-
expressive and goofy writing. Like it's
Yeah.
pretty self-aware. And just like not just the main character, the whole look of the game. Because in flat screenshots, it just looks like pixel art, 2D. But like you play it and you realize everything is like 3D with
Those
subtle,
are 3D models.
yeah.
subtle depth and stuff like that. Like
Are you guys all playing PC?
I've been
Yeah.
playing on PS4 so far.
I
Performance
played a
has
bit on
been
both.
pretty good on PS4.
Yeah, I heard some
I'm
On
playing
the Switch,
Switch.
word
like,
going around
like it
about the
works.
Switch
Like,
version
it
this
works,
morning.
You know,
Like the developer has responded, like, and there's enough sort of unrest about it that the developer
it's
came
not like
out.
it's crashing or anything,
Yeah.
but it's just like it doesn't run at the same frame rate.
Yeah.
My biggest issue is like when there's a lot of enemies on the screen, you get a little bit of slowdown.
Yeah.
And then I was playing last night docked handheld Joy-Cons, and I was losing a lot of inputs. I was
Really?
like, yeah,
That might be a Switch thing, but
it might be a Switch thing,
That
which
has-
is a bummer. Maybe I should just get a Pro controller anyway.
maybe. No, that was an issue with like Breath of the Wild as well.
Mm.
Like, losing inputs.
And for a game like that tight, where I'm trying to time parries and stuff, it's a bit of a bummer.
Totally.
But
Doesn't it
other
feel
than
good to
that,
parry in that
Yeah,
game?
pairing
Like,
with the shield and
I've
stuff.
never used a shield. Is
give it a
it?
shot sometime.
Does
Like
it just
once
stun?
it
Or-
can. Yeah, the
yeah.
different shields have different effects. Like
Oh.
you've got one that will cause more stun damage or cause them to burn. You can have like gold, have their gold teeth fly out afterwards, which is pretty ridiculous.
Yeah, I saw one of the greed shields.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But yeah, it feels once you get a better handle of like how the enemies attack and stuff, and like when their tells are, it feels really good. And like you can, if you've got an arrow coming at you, you can just hold it up. You don't have to time it perfectly. Just hold up the shield, and it'll reflect the
Oh, wow.
arrow back at.
Oh, I thought
whoever
that was a
shot it.
parry. I thought that was a timing thing. I thought that
I
was
think
more.
you just hold it up.
Huh. Okay.
so go ahead.
I love the slightly messy nature of the random weapons because like you get all these effects mashed together that don't seem like they should be there. Like
Yep.
I've gotten a sword that just shoots an arrow every time you swing it.
Yeah.
Yeah, why
It's
not?
like that's not a bow. Where did that come from? But it works. It's goofy.
Mm-hmm.
I started feeling myself pretty good on the game. I was like, I was making it to what's the first main boss guy, the concierge.
Yeah.
Yep.
So I was like making it to him fairly, regularly. I beat him. I was like, man, I hope this game has like a hard mode because I'm kind of breezing through this.
Well,
And then
let me know.
I got to the blacksmith. Is that the guy who has? And I saw how many souls I needed for his shit, and I was just like,
10,000 or something.
I was
I
like-
think it's 1,000 for the first tier.
yeah. I was like, man, I've got a lot of this game left. I am
yeah.
not even. My toes are not even.
Are there milestones in that first 1,000 cells you have to give him, or do you literally have to hit 1,000 to move that needle at all?
I think you just hit
hit
1,000.
Yeah.
Huh. Okay.
They'll come.
Yeah.
Those
I
cells will
restarted.
come.
So that's what I realized.
Yeah.
Oh,
like,
really?
When you launch the PC, the final PC version for the first time, it comes up and says like, "Hey, game's done. You might want to delete your save or play a new game from scratch if you want to see all the lore shit we added."
Yeah.
And I was like,
Kind
I'd played enough on PS4 to know what they were talking about already, but I was like, fuck it, I actually am gonna start over, and then I realized like, oh, I'm not gonna get the frost, like I'm not now. I can't
Right.
freeze anybody. That was maybe a dumb whatever.
You'll get it back eventually.
Yeah, it's
But they've added like some flavor characters, I guess, that are that help explain,
And
yeah,
come
just
across like
little
writing.
bits.
and
Yeah, just
text
get
logs.
some
Yeah.
more writing and logs and text and like areas to search and stuff, which was not there for a long time.
True.
It's a good ass game.
Yeah.
It is a really fantastic one of those
Mhm.
that I think goes beyond one of those
Yeah.
status.
It feels unique in
Yeah.
that genre to me.
Uh,
I still feel like I have so much to discover. Like I keep seeing those statues that you rub, and I don't know what that does. And like there's spots where I clearly need a wall jump that I don't have.
True.
Yeah.
I've seen a number of places where it looks like there's a path down, and if I ground pound it, a tiny little red rune appears, and I don't
Good eye.
know what that means.
Maybe you need a rune for that.
Okay. Huh. There's a
Um,
lot of stuff that keeps you going.
Yeah.
Like, despite it being kind of a repetitive single note
well,
thing.
it's cool because like as you find, just like with Divine, like you find things that freshen up the old
Right,
areas. Because
right.
if you're gonna run through those areas multiple times and all that sort of stuff, like they use that stuff well, where it's like, okay, here's like something new I can do in the early levels that I've kind of been breezing through.
And then once you do those new things, it branches to totally new areas.
It can, and you can actually end up taking shortcuts essentially and skipping out on some of the areas that you normally would have had to play through in order to get to a boss. So you can make your run.
So when you
shorter.
get that first, like you get the vine thing, and you can start going to the toxic sewers instead of the promenade. Is that a whole separate path through the game, or does that sort of wrap back around?
Yeah, it's kind of like a A/B kind of situation, but it still comes to the same boss.
Okay, looking at the trophies, it seems like there are a lot of levels in the game.
Yeah, 20-something or something, or 12, I forget. But
I think the farthest I've gotten is the fishing village.
I've gotten to the third boss. Third boss so far in this new playthrough. Those are bosses that were not in earlier versions of the game for sure. So I'm like, oh shit, I don't know what I'm doing. Jeff, you mentioned this is a really good one of those. It's probably important to mention that there's a lot of games like coming out right now that are kind of similar.
Yeah.
And I think a lot of people are coming off of like a Hollow Knight kick. And, Brad, you said this is a different kind of game. So I don't want to dissuade anyone from that, might be, neck deep in Hollow Knight from playing something like this.
I think it scratches kind of a different itch.
Yeah, I think it's different enough to
it's
where...
different even from like, I think it's different from stuff like Rogue Legacy even where, there is exploration involved. It is not an exploration game.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
This is a hard as hell combat focused thing.
It's hard as hell, but I think it doles out rewards relatively quickly.
Yeah, actually,
in
maybe
abundance even.
Actually, I think less important that it's hard and more that it's very technique focused.
Sure.
There's a lot of depth and a lot of execution to the way the mechanics work.
And they have, I think they handle the spending of souls and like the kind of permanent unlocks and upgrades. I think that stuff's all handled really well to make you feel like, oh, I got some progress.
Yep.
I found a blueprint and spent eight cells here.
There's a couple
And
spots
get a
where
little money back on the next run.
And so you start to feel like you're tilting the odds like a little more in your favor as you unlock more of that stuff.
There's a couple spots where they could use just a tiny bit of explanation. Like the main one was when you get to the collector and they've got all the items that you've unlocked with blueprints, but I wasn't sure what I was spending money for. It turned out that like you're buying them as a single use item.
It gives them the ability to show up and drop.
It adds them to the universe, and you get
if you buy them once at the collector, then they start showing up in the world.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And they drop right there.
Yes.
Okay, got it.
Right.
Okay.
Which is nice. You get one.
Yeah,
right
that
there.
was a nice little surprise the first time I did that.
I thought it was only dropping it for my use on that run.
Yeah, no.
Okay, I see.
And
then,
you'll see them in that little area at the beginning with all the jars.
Yeah.
That's when you see it up there. That means like, okay, it's gonna.
Okay, and then you have to buy the ability for them to randomly be a starting item.
Yeah, you can later upgrade
Yes,
that.
got it. Okay, that makes sense.
which then when you start getting like random starter sword and random starter shield and unlock those, then you start like, oh, now I'm starting with a bloody sword. That's cool. Like I can go in with this different set of attacks and play a little differently. Yeah.
God, it's so good.
It's really
it does it
good.
just and it has the roguelike thing of just a bunch of crazy little moments happening because you don't know what to expect. Like I opened my first cursed treasure chest when
I love that
deep,
guy.
like deep into a really good run that I didn't want to lose.
Oh no!
And I had a ton of cells and stuff, and then and the guy entices you into opening the chest, and then he's like, "Oh, if you take another hit, you're dead."
Yeah, kill 10 guys,
kill 10 enemies, and then I spent like 10 minutes very methodically like chipping away at enemies and like sweating a lot. Did
you make it through?
Yeah,
Nice.
I made it. It was really exhilarating, actually.
Yeah.
It's
I get the same feeling whenever I've picked up a new blueprint, and it's like, oh shit, I've got like
I've
one healing thing left,
this.
and I've got to get to the end of the level, otherwise I'm not going to keep the
and
blueprint.
it's a cool way to make it feel like finishing every single level is valuable. Like that's you're gaining progress just by making it to the end of a level.
One very minor issue I'm running into is I initially really like how they handle the upgrade system, where it's like, okay, you find a scroll and you can either upgrade red, blue, or green, which each upgrade different items. But as you play, once you get like 5 or 6 of them, they're kind of not super important because they're all like, okay, we're going to increase these things. They scale downward, basically.
Like 15% is actually a pretty big chunk of damage.
That's
once you've gotten that up to that level.
And health, like once you're at 1,000 HP, 10% is like.
And they start to improve your mutations also, depending on how you've spent those.
Oh, is that
so
what
like
those
green
were?
will,
Okay.
if you've got the one that recovers like 3 HP every time you kill an enemy,
Okay.
if you get that
4.
mutation, that'll go up to 4 when you upgrade green.
I saw that, but I wasn't sure if it was. I couldn't remember my exact number, so I thought it was just reminding me of the mutations I had for each color. But if it's actually
it'll raise
those,
the level of those.
That
too.
is huge.
Yeah.
So never mind. game's great.
Yeah.
It's a good ass. It's
It's
a good ass video
Just
game.
incredibly
Yes.
well designed in almost every way.
Yeah. The stuff about like
I like it.
there's a I think it's still a toggle of like have it auto stop rolls at the edge of a
Yeah.
ledge.
Yeah.
Smart.
Smart stuff. Yeah.
And an option also. Like you can turn off the exclamation point over enemies' heads when they attack if you don't want that tell.
or if you don't want the tell on your character for when your roll is available.
Yeah.
It's just like a brief flash.
It's
But you can
just-
turn it off if you
a
want.
lot of really good options there too.
Mhm.
For
It's
that's
so nice because there's also like there's no DLC, there's no loot. Like I'm not saying every game has this, but this just feels like a good ass video game that is just a package. You buy it, you play it, it's great.
You're right, but also if in 6 months they said, "Hey, we're working on more levels to integrate into your playthrough as DLC," I'd be like, "Fucking let's go."
Sure, like DLC
Like,
eventually is
yeah.
fine, but there's no like it just feels like a complete package.
Yeah.
Which is rare these days.
I guess so.
I think it's notable. There was a story going around a week or two ago that the developer is kind of a flat, like cooperative structure.
Yeah, they all get paid the
it's,
same.
It's only like 15 people or something, but yeah, like apparently everybody has equal say in development of the game.
That's
and,
really
and like it just
Wow.
leads to a lot of like
I feel
votes, you know.
yeah, I feel like that shows because it feels like almost every design decision you look at in that game is like, yeah, this was the right decision. Like it feels right,
Yeah.
almost top to bottom.
It seems like there are ways that could go horribly wrong and lead to a lot
Yeah.
of arguments and some bad decisions getting through. But whatever, man. Like that game was fun in early access for a good long time, and
Totally,
it's
yeah.
gotten better and better.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's great. Yeah, I've been trying to decide if I want to like mess around with mods. Like I'm trying to decide where to play it. If I'm gonna play it on PS4 or on PC.
yeah, there's so much to progress that it feels like you kind of have to pick a platform and stick
Definitely.
with it if you want to
Yep.
get everything.
Yeah.
I feel a lot better about maybe switching to console or something now, though, since I deleted my PC save. Like, for a while, I was like, well, I've already made all this progress. Like, I'm definitely not going to switch.
Damn.
And I was like, nah, fuck it, man. I'm going to wipe it out.
I've got over, like 100 hours in the PC version. I don't know.
I had
that
like
could ever-
25, I had like 30
Okay.
or something. So, and you know, like I'd kind of beat the first two bosses. I forget how, but at some point I was like, no, I want to do this again.
Yeah.
So, whatever.
Yeah, I did too. That's why I was
Yeah.
anxious to get it on console.
And like minor issues aside, I really appreciate having it on the Switch. On my commute this morning, I just had 2 runs. Like while I was on the train, it was great. Being able to take this thing with me and play it and like show it to people is really cool. Like
Just
I'm
like
gonna
random people on BART. It's like,
Like,
check
hey,
this out. I got this.
Yo,
look at this stomp. It's really cool, right?
I got this Spartan kick. You kick them. I don't think it does
Remember
enough damage,
300?
but it does the thing from the movie.
no, kick him into a wall.
Oh,
They fucking
really?
explode.
Yeah.
Okay.
It
Oh,
does
it
bonus
feels
damage
really
if you
good.
hit
Yeah,
it into the wall.
Okay.
Does a shitload of
All right.
damage.
Okay.
Or a big hole in the ground.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So you'll
well,
find
yeah.
yourself like, rolling through them, to get to like a perfect opportune place to kick. Oh, it's
So I think every time I've found it, I've picked it up, done the
you're like-
animation a couple of times, went like,
that's funny.
looked at numbers on it, and I was like, I want to keep the thing I'm using because it's working out pretty good. So I don't
They
think I've
made it
ever
useful.
actually put it into
All right.
practice.
Gut reaction. Favorite type of weapon?
It's sword. It's
Sword.
like the faster, maybe like
The balanced
daggers.
blade or the
Yeah,
yeah,
daggers?
balance
the
blade,
daggers.
That's
Like-
a good 5-hit.
yeah, the daggers and the ice.
Okay.
So
like
freeze them,
ice.
stab them.
Brad?
I like ice bow because
Oh,
I'll keep
okay.
rerolling stats on that to get it pierces through enemies.
Mm-hmm.
And bear in mind, you get like limited ammo, but you can add a mutation that gives you double the
Yeah,
ammo or
yeah.
something like that. I like that because it's actually a bigger blast.
I just
you can
like,
get more people with.
I just
with
like
a bow.
pretending that this is the spiritual successor to Mortal Kombat Mythology's Sub-Zero. Yeah. So, and as soon as you get that ice blast, like
He's just
it's
a
he's
big
just
blob of
doing that.
cells.
Well,
He's
now
just
that you
doing that.
deleted and get to see all the lore they added, you will see that
Yeah,
it's
all this Quan Chi,
That's
all
the
this Quan Chi
DLC.
FMV they added is
God.
pretty smart. Pretty
Sub-Zero
smart.
outfit for the Dead Cells guy.
Oh, they should mod that in.
They should put the Dead Cells guy in a fighting game.
Oh, he's coming to Tekken.
He'll be
Okay,
in
great.
some indie mashup Smash clone. Don't
Yeah.
worry.
It's quite a game. Jeff, you want to talk about WarioWare?
Yes, I do. Always.
So,
Fuck
The
yeah.
WarioWare franchise started as
Okay.
Mario Artist Polygon Studio. It
I
was a
see.
bonus mode in there.
Webster's
Webster's
about 9
Dictionary
volt.
defines
Webster's
Wario
as Mario, but
Upside.
Mario,
Upside,
but
yeah.
garlic.
yeah. Okay, so Wario. Yeah, WarioWare Gold just came out on Friday, and I went out, even though I was on vacation, and bought a copy of it and had a long conversation about the nature of the 3DS with the manager of the store that I was buying it from. So this is
what were the manager's thoughts?
he was just like, look at the book here for pre-orders. They haven't sent me anything to update this thing in months. Like, I don't know, but Nintendo hasn't said anything about discontinuing the 3DS. I don't know. And then at that point, I was in because like whatever, I'm on vacation. I got time to fucking kill. And I'm like, well, they just put out some new hardware, didn't they? He's like, yeah, we got these Zelda ones. I don't know, they sell out all the time. And I was like, yeah, but people are probably doing weird things. Like, yeah, they probably just filmed full of ROMs. And I was like, cool, I gotta go.
I'm calling the cops.
Yeah. By the way, anyway, so I bought like the one copy. They had 4 copies overall, 3 for pre-orders, and then I bought the only copy that was there just for sale.
Huh.
That's a bummer.
Yeah, but like it's they've got a digital storefront, and all, the only reason I was getting a physical copy is because we're gonna do video of it, and I want my save to carry over.
If it was like in a retail store that specializes in game sales, that's very typical. Like they'll just get in the pre-order amounts.
Yeah,
I don't think it's indicative
especially for
of,
like a
what
3DS.
shipping out.
Like I feel like 3DS these days might also that might make some sense. Anyway, so I stopped there and bought the games, and then yes, I played WarioWare Gold. It's good. It is a lot of the games from the history of the WarioWare franchise, and they integrate them. You kind of have 3 tracks through the storyline.
You're saying WarioWare Gold is the Mortal Kombat Gold of the WarioWare
Exactly.
franchise?
Yeah, they put Cyrax in it. It's
Okay.
weird.
Just a mashup?
Yeah. So it's a collection of micro games. Sorry.
Does it have the one where you stand under the umbrellas when the arrows come?
I haven't seen that exact one
Fuck.
yet. But so
you
they
do the nose pick one
yeah.
where the finger. Okay.
Yep.
Blink.
Yep.
All right.
And so they have split it up into 3 tracks through the campaign, where you have the Mash League, the Twist League, and the Touch League.
Oh, okay.
And since it's bringing together games from the history of
Oh.
it has a lot of the tilt games
Yeah, I was
from
gonna say, how does it
WarioWare
handle
Twisted.
the twist stuff?
I mean, there's a gyro in the 3DS, so you just just turn it,
yeah,
and it works.
cool.
They just had
And-
that in the cartridge before,
Yeah.
right? The gyro.
Yep. Yeah, and
That's
whatever,
crazy.
Twisted was a great game.
Yep.
And so and they haven't done anything like that since. So it's cool to see that back. It was a good reminder. Like, oh right, yeah, no, that was a good game. And there are the cutscenes are more elaborate. There's a lot of speech. Like WarioWare talks a lot. I don't
What
know
does
if
he talk about?
Wario talks a lot. Even like Wario's got a lot to say about
I'm sure.
The current socioeconomic climate.
like
He's way into it.
I mean, Wario likes money, right?
Yeah.
So he's just like, I'll make a bunch of video games. These idiots will buy anything, and like then enlist his friends to make games
Does he have
for
any
free.
jokes about loot boxes?
No, but at one point there's no. But he does talk about streaming to make money
Okay.
at one point, and it's real silly.
He's an IRL streamer.
Yeah, he just sits on it. But the whole thing is he is like starting an esports tournament to make a bunch of money.
Yeah.
And he needs to have games in the tournament, so he enlists his moronic friends to make games for him for free. I mean, yeah, I guess he calls them morons. They're the true heroes of the story.
They're also morons. Many of them.
Yeah, many of them. I don't know. They're cab drivers. They're people like you and me. They're dogs like you and me. And so that that's how they kind of frame it as you go from story to story. But each of the stories are now fully voiced. There's a new mysterious girl character who shows up at the opening of the esports tournament and just is in the crowd going, "I'm gonna get you, Wario!" And it's just fucking crazy. And all the cutscenes I think look really nice. It's elaborate for
They
what it
redo
is.
all the art.
I mean, this is
assume
all
the
new
new
shit.
shit,
But also
cutscene
they
stuff, yeah.
redid all the art for the games.
Okay.
Which
Really?
some of that's a little hit and miss. Like it feels like they remastered WarioWare, where it's like, here's this game from WarioWare.
Which
it.
has a very simple cartoonish
Yeah.
style.
And so they've upgraded it a little bit in ways that it has a different vibe. Or whatever. It's got the same vibe. It's just got a different look to it. In game sometimes than the ones you remember.
So how are you actually progressing through these leagues? How do you win?
Choose. I mean, you
playing sets of games?
Yeah, you are
in a ladder.
You
or?
play you have to work your way through the 3 tracks separately. So you can't just pick any stage anytime you want.
Okay.
But you can choose any of the 3 leagues anytime you want. Like, I got to stage 4 on the Mash League, but now I'm going to start on Touch and do Touch for a while.
And a stage is
and
going to be
then-
multiple micro games.
Yeah. So a stage will be you have to play through 18 different different micro games, and then a boss fight,
Okay.
or the boss mini game, boss micro game for that stage. Which is pretty much how it's always been. You'd be like, oh, I'm going to get to Jimmy T's levels, and then I'm going to play Jimmy T's levels, and then there's a larger encounter at the end of that. And then next time you load it up, it becomes endless. So when you're playing through for story mode, it ends at like 17 or 18 games. But then when you go back in, it becomes a high score challenge of how long can you survive. And then when you've unlocked everything, which I haven't done quite yet, that's when it starts to open up other modes. And they've got a little gotcha machine that you can get different mini games and different other little things out of. And like a little, like it's like the Smash like trophy, like let's go look at a Virtual Boy, and stuff like that. Cool. And so it's like that's a lot like all the other WarioWare games. If you've played all those games, you're going to be familiar with the majority of the games here. But I think they've tweaked just enough of it, and also honestly, it's been a long time since I've played a lot of those that it still felt fresh. It didn't feel like a rehash of just like, oh, they're just trotting these same games out again. Yeah. Because they haven't made one in kind of a while, so it was nice to return to it. But some of that stuff, like there's a tilt version of Super Mario Brothers 1 that you play. That is like it is 1-1 is part of the first level of Super Mario Brothers, but put on a sphere. So it's cool. A rounded version of it that you're tilting to make Mario walk, and that's from Twisted, and that's in here again, kind of as is. So some of them are just carried right over. Plenty of them are carried over.
It's fucked up that you can play as Mario in a Wario game.
Yeah. But he's just making these micro games.
Yeah, that's true. I guess he's more of just exploiting Mario's image for his own game,
totally.
Which I'm totally down for.
So my understanding is that you start to, some of the later things you unlock are pretty good. Like, I guess there's a mode where you can tilt the 3DS to speed up or slow down the games. Because normally as you play, it just gets faster until you just can't do it anymore. And so like the idea of just like you can tilt it to change the speed on the fly just seems like a goofy little thing. These games are always filled with like goofy little things. Yeah. And this, it seems like there's no exception here. So
because like the games themselves or whatever, they're fine. They're just these little few second experiences, and it was always around like.
They're novel and the trimmings around it, but and just like the art itself,
the music,
it's very not Nintendo in a lot of ways too. When you think about like the general vibe of a Nintendo release, like the boss fight I just got to was like you're directing people to a bathroom, and I think I've lost, so I'm not sure, but it looks like there's the two areas you bring them in is like a statue of the kid peeing and the statue of the thinker sitting down, and people come running down the aisle at the theater, and they're either holding their fronts or their backs, and you have to direct them depending on if they're going to pee or poo.
Yeah, the classic two bathrooms.
Yeah, the classic two bathrooms. I would move to a pee poo
gender
system.
Neutral pee and poo rooms.
Yeah, go to the poo room.
And same music as far as you can tell.
A lot of the same music, yeah. But the cutscenes between it are all new and well done. We'll record a quick look of it. I am enjoying it quite a bit as a big WarioWare fan. I think I was worried a little bit that this was just going to be, hey, here's all these games again. Yeah. But seeing some of the new art along the way and some of the ways they've kind of mixed up the games across different characters have different types of games associated with them now. Yeah. There's 3 different tiers. There's a Nintendo tier or Nintendo stage in each tier. So you get your touch Nintendo games, your twist Nintendo games, your tap Nintendo games.
Is there anything that would have stopped them from putting this on the Switch, like control wise?
I guess not.
Switch can do everything.
The Switch can do the tilt stuff.
Yeah.
The touch stuff you would have to play undocked.
Oh, sure. Sure. Yeah.
So there would be that.
Yeah, I guess in fact this game would be useless in docked mode, right?
Right.
Huh. I wonder if that's what stopped them.
I don't know. I've been playing. I got an email from Nintendo that read a lot like a user retention email. Like, here's what's come out on Switch since we last saw you. Like, implying like, hey, you have not been playing, which is true. I have not been playing very many Switch games lately. And so this is the first time I've seen like user retention looking, and maybe they sent it out to everybody and it's just the wording is weird. But I got it and I was like, oh, huh, I did not expect like, here's our win-back campaign for Switch users
Huh.
or whatever. But I've been playing way more 3DS lately because my wife's been playing a bunch of Animal Crossing, so I started playing that again, and we've been going to each other's towns and stuff. And I've been playing through Picross 3D again, and now this. So like I've been playing way more fucking 3DS than Switch as of late.
I kind of want to check and see if I've gotten one of those.
And yeah, so I think it's really good. You know, as a WarioWare fan, as a long time WarioWare fan, I'm having a really good time with it. Even though it is very much that greatest hits thing. So
But they're all great hits.
yeah. WarioWare still works. I would love if they turned around and said, "Hey, now there's going to be an all new WarioWare for Switch." Great, bring it on.
Yep.
Like coming out of this, I'm like, this is a great cap off of everything they've done up to this point. It brings it all together under one roof because you've got the twisting and the DS style stuff and the traditional control stuff all in one game. I think that's awesome.
Totally a way to make it work.
Yeah. And then if they were like, okay, now we're gonna, do a whole new one.
Just WarioWare Cross Rhythm Heaven.
Yep. Absolutely.
Or just both.
Yeah, or just
both.
great,
Yeah.
or just let's make a Rhythm Heaven game
Yeah.
because god damn it, let's make a Rhythm Heaven. Yeah,
Yeah.
because those games are tremendous. Also, I think that those are probably my two favorite Nintendo franchises at this point: is WarioWare and Rhythm Heaven. Yeah, it's good. We'll run some video of it up on the website this week for people who want to see some of those WarioWare cutscenes.
That's cool.
I want to see them.
I wonder if they do make a Switch one, I wonder if they will have to like kind of rethink what WarioWare is to account for those different
Well, remember
sets of inputs.
original WarioWare was on
GBA, just with
so
nothing but
with just
controls.
nothing but controls.
Yeah.
Like you can make that game,
Yeah.
and if you start from scratch and use the increased graphical power at your disposal to make them grander and sillier and all this other stuff, like you can definitely do it.
Bring back make your own games.
That was cool.
WarioWare Maker.
Yeah.
The WarioWare DIY was a fucking
Oh.
neat. They
They
literally
did that.
did that.
Oh yeah.
If they did a DIY for Switch, that would be cool. It'd be hard to get the art in there because you have to draw. Like the touchscreen was pretty vital for that.
Draw with us.
I guess you could draw with the Joy-Con.
Con.
No one's gonna do that.
No.
Somebody will do that.
Switch
Yeah,
has a
come on.
touchscreen.
It does, but only when it's undocked.
Yeah.
And so you have to be willing. It's the Mario Maker conundrum of just like, do you think they'll do it?
Did you see the Miiverse?
They should. Oh, I saw the Miiverse.
Somebody will do it.
That's not a hard and fast rule, though. Like, it has to be able to be played docked and undocked.
That rhythm game came out at launch.
There
Voez,
was that
I think
one.
it's called.
Wasn't that like a mobile port?
Yeah, and it's
Yeah.
touch only, so you can't play it docked.
That's the only example.
But it's
I
a
know of.
third-party game.
Yeah.
Like Nintendo, I don't think would cut off the main selling point of their platform by
Yeah.
saying you have to play this docked or undocked. I feel like they would.
Yeah.
I feel like they of all developers would be incentivized to make sure it works both ways.
Otherwise, you're not getting the seal.
Yeah.
That's
And I
right.
guess like whatever, in something like a Mario Maker or any kind of like you could use the Joy-Con or the gyros on a Pro controller to try to draw art or place turtles or whatever. But I don't think that would be ideal.
WarioWare. Video games.
Yep.
Let's take a quick break and come back and talk about some more.
Support for today's show comes to you in part from Starbucks Double Shot. Starbucks Double Shot starts with bold Starbucks coffee, and it's blended with milk for a smooth, creamy, and delicious flavor. On top of that, it's enhanced with ginseng, guarana, and B vitamins. Double Shot is available in 6 delicious flavors. That's mocha, vanilla, hazelnut, white chocolate, coffee, and Mexican mocha. Did you write all those down? Write all those down. It's an energy coffee drink that not only tastes great, but gives you the energy to go from point A to point done. You're sharper when you've got more energy, right? So check it out. It's Starbucks Double Shot. It's available in your local convenience store. It's energy to do the things you actually do. So check it out in your local convenience store. That's Starbucks Double Shot.
Over the weekend, excuse me, they ran a beta for that Call of Duty.
They did. Yeah.
Ooh.
the Black Ops 4.
Mm-hmm.
I played a little bit of that.
Yeah.
It was I think it was all the same maps from the reveal event that I went to, or at least the 2 maps that I saw there were definitely in this beta, and I don't know that I saw any other ones. I didn't play a ton of it. I sat down going like, okay, let's give this a shot and see how it goes.
Does it have wall running?
No.
Does it have jetpacks?
No. Though I definitely double tapped the jump button multiple times, going like, I just want to jump over this thing, because it's got a lot of the same look as a game that should have some of that stuff. It has the running slide that they had last time.
Can you be a robot?
No. At least not yet. I don't know. Maybe they haven't revealed all of the characters or whatever, but
So yeah, what did the beta entail? What did it have?
it had a few playlists. It had like domination, like kind of the modes you'd expect. Had a control mode that I didn't try.
But no sign of the one new thing that everybody's curious about.
You mean the battle royale stuff? No, that's later. They announced that's in a September beta, I think.
Oh, that will be playable
there
before release?
There will be a beta for that as well.
Okay, I figured they'd hold that back until
No,
launch.
no, they're gonna. I think it's the thing they probably actually
they probably
need to
have
test.
to have
Still
to
no-
test
the
that.
most.
Still no info on that, right? Like player count.
Yeah, no, they haven't really said much since the reveal event, other than they just talked about map size, which you could start to try to think about player count in that context, but who knows?
There was that rumor saying that they were having a hard time hitting 100, but who knows how accurate that is.
Oh, this is the one where they're like certain area. I can't remember if this is a real thing.
Yeah,
or,
certain areas will look like maps from the history of Black Ops.
Yeah, like
from all
let's
the
drop
other-
at.
Oh, you mean all in
Nuketown.
all in the one
the
battle royale?
one in
That's
the-
kind of an interesting idea.
Yeah. And this is the other one, with also the one where they're saying every character from Black Ops will be represented in the Blackout mode, which is their battle royale mode.
Oh, cool.
And every gun, every attachment, like they're kind of saying that it's going to have all that stuff. But yeah, that I don't know that they've said. If they have, I haven't seen it, but I think they haven't really revisited that since. So they had one of the playlists was called Chaos TDM. And it seemed like that didn't have. So back when I played it prior to or at the reveal event, the mode or the playlist we were playing in had a hard limit of, because you pick a character, and it had a hard limit of one of those characters per team. So you couldn't all be the guy with the ground pound. And in this Chaos playlist, you could. It seemed like it didn't have the player limit, which is interesting because that was one of the things coming out of that event. I was like, dude, I don't want to ever play this in a situation where I'm forced to play as some character because the character I like playing is taken. And then I'm like, oh, well, I guess I don't get a grenade because I can't pick the character with the grenade.
And it's not like it's something like Overwatch, which has restrictions there, but you have so many different types of characters to choose from in that your odds are you're going to find somebody else. Like, how many total?
I want to say there's like 9 or something. And,
Yeah,
and it again, it is just beta. I don't know what their total final count is. If
And
this
with
is
teams
it,
of how many?
6.
Yeah,
6
so
on 6.
Yeah, that's not enough characters to,
Yeah,
I think, justify that.
Yeah. So I didn't much care for that coming out of the beta event. So at least in this case, I was like, okay, if I want to play the grenade lady, I can do that. If I want to play the dude with the ground pound and the grappling hook, I can do that. And that seems like the way that game should be. I don't want it to, like, Overwatch does Overwatch just fine. I don't need another Activision game to try to be Overwatch. That seems like the wrong way to go. Yeah, I don't know. So I played a handful of matches of it, and yeah, I honestly kind of missed the jumping around shit that they had with these characters in the past. Like,
Do you wish it had double jumps?
Yes. I mean, because like if I want to play a to use their phrasing, boots on the ground Call of Duty game, World War II is right there, and I think that game is fine, and this game just being like hero shooter, like one click closer to having these playable characters with specific abilities and stuff. Like, that's just not what I'm looking for out of a Call of Duty game. And also, it doesn't seem like they're going far enough in the direction to really get into that Overwatch territory. So I don't know that that's like, and I don't know what they're trying to accomplish with it. It doesn't feel, it feels like a middle ground that doesn't necessarily satisfy anyone.
I bet they don't quite know either.
You're probably right.
Yeah, it's weird.
Because where do you go from
Yeah,
the reset of back to World War II, and then this game that had single player and doesn't, and all this, like all the other stuff that's going on.
On top of everything else, it's an 11-year-old
Sure.
And that's if you only start at Call of
you
Duty
only start at 4, right.
Like it's kind of hard after over a decade to keep coming up with winning new ideas every year.
Yeah, but that's the thing. Like before Call of Duty, Modern Warfare was like that changed how multiplayer games were designed.
Totally.
That was like the new standard
Right.
for how you design a deathmatch, team deathmatch, whatever, what have you. And now they're just like chasing all these different trends and not really
Like they've got a battle
fully
royale.
getting into any of the one.
Well, that's the balancing act, is retaining your identity, but still keeping up with what's hot,
And-
which you are not anymore.
Yeah.
You know.
Well,
I'm
they're
not saying
they're selling
yeah,
fucking
but
fine.
right, but nobody's
You know.
like the news is not reporting on Call of Duty the way it is.
You're right.
Something like Fortnite.
You're right.
it's doing fine,
You're
but
right.
but it's
Actually, maybe this is the year now that Fortnite has done what Fortnite is doing. Maybe this is the year where you finally go like, oh, things really did change.
Yeah.
They were quietly, maybe slightly more quietly raking it in these past few years. And I'm sure they'll do fine. But yeah, when they announced the Battle Royale mode, when they confirmed it, they kind of had to have sentences in their speech that were like, and we're doing it the Black Ops way.
Yeah.
And you're like, okay, like I'm not actually sure what that means, but yeah, like whatever that means to them as developers, like what is the core of their corner of the Call of Duty verse, they want to try to at least maintain that, and I think that's you have to. Anyway, this is just a roundabout way of saying like it's the competitive multiplayer, which is the only stuff that was in that beta, seems fine but a little underwhelming, I guess. Because I feel like World War II kind of stole the thunder of let's take stuff out as a strategy, like because they took it all out, and then this to be this weird middle ground of like, oh, we're putting some of it back in, but not all of it, because no one likes to wall run. Which is not true.
Not true. Wall running fucking owns.
But all those cool ass wall run kills in Titanfall of like running on a wall and looking down and shooting someone while you're doing it, and all that trickery is still fucking rad.
Like chasing someone while they wall run.
But I think also the thing I would say is I don't feel like Call of Duty ever did wall running particularly well. So they didn't do it to the Titanfall. Like Titanfall is a better take on that whole thing. So
that's designed with movement in mind. Like,
sure,
with
right,
more
right,
advanced
yeah, and they never, like the last time they did it, I guess it was Advanced Warfare was when they did full on wall runs, and it just was this plodding, slow wall run that didn't feel right. Whereas you look at something like Titanfall, like you're fucking hauling ass,
Yeah.
and it feels good.
Yeah.
I will say that the grappling hook, the dude that has the grappling hook, like the grappling hook in Black Ops, is fun to use. And yeah, I don't know. It's weird. I want to see what the final product ends up being like. Like, it's not unfun. It is still that game in a lot of ways. But I think even as much as like when World War II came out, I was like, I don't know how much of this I'm actually going to play because, it is a little too stripped down. I did end up playing more of it than I thought I would. But now this just seems like, well, like the knee slide thing is funny, but not like a defining characteristic that's going to like really change the game for me. And these character abilities, like I said, it's just, that's not the direction I'm looking for out of Call of Duty. So now at this point, it's like, okay, well, maybe if the Battle Royale mode is awesome, then maybe they've got somewhere to hang their hat.
Yeah, is this game going to live and die by that mode?
No, it'll
Like,
live and die because like they're quadrupling down on zombies. Like that's the thing that people really like, and they're like, we don't have just one scenario. We've got like they're launching with way more zombie stuff than they ever have before.
Right.
Like
There's
a whole cadre of people that fucking love that shit.
They've got a whole
and
group of people that would have been making a campaign available to do other things now.
Unless those people were making a campaign for some chunk of that time and then had to change it.
Elements
I
of
don't
story are going to be in every aspect of the game.
Yeah. That means a page of text saying, this guy is a Mohawk.
He got it because his dad had a Mohawk and he died in the war.
His dad was WWE superstar Sheamus. Yeah. So
$2.99 for that DLC.
yeah.
Sheamus voice back.
Okay, I would.
And skin.
Okay, all right.
Okay.
Yeah, I would do that. No, they already, like, straight up, like the dude with the ground pound thing looks a lot like
Yeah,
Sheamus.
he does.
And a lot of these characters are characters that were in the previous Black Ops.
Okay.
The reason it doesn't have a robot is because at some point they were setting a storyline. That's how they justify the no wall run, no boost jump, stuff is like in the timeline, it is set prior to the events of Black Ops 3.
Prior to Robot.
Prior
It's a
to
robot
robots.
that taught them how to do the wall.
Yeah, everyone's a little more out of
So,
shape.
Everyone's got some technology, but not all of it.
Black
so
Ops 4 is the Street Fighter 4 of,
Yeah.
of Black Ops.
Bison is still alive.
Okay.
Yeah, no, it's whatever.
Tell me about Soap's dolls.
I would no. Yeah, so I don't know. Like they're gonna roll that beta out more widely. I think even this weekend is when it is coming to PC and Xbox. It was just on PS4 this time. I think it was just for pre-order people or something. So I haven't checked in to see kind of what the reaction is from people, from anyone else who's been playing it, to see kind of what the temperature is for Call of Duty this year, at least from the competitive side. Because like I said, like people love zombies. That thing will do fucking fine. But yeah.
And people like to parachute onto an island.
Oh yeah. I mean, that could be if they do that mode right. Like I'm kind of like I'm not going to ever get into Fortnite at this point. I think I've made peace with that. Like I still like PUBG fine, but I'm not playing as much of it. Like I could see myself getting into another battle royale game if it's done well.
If they do that mode really well, they could
Yeah.
recapture that audience in
Like
a major way.
Black Ops way.
They make some damn polished multiplayer experiences.
absolutely.
So
And
the idea
like
of
That thing still shoots really well.
Yeah,
so-
and the idea of like that gameplay, that feel of everything from just the movement, the speed of the movement, the time to kill on the weapons being what it is, like that will, if they stick true to that aspect of the game but make it a battle royale mode, like that seems like a very different thing than a lot of the other stuff that's out there, to the point where I would be interested in seeing it in action. And there's definitely room for that, I feel, weirdly enough. That said, Fortnite's a juggernaut. I don't think it gets dethroned by a mode in a Call of Duty game.
Well, different audiences.
yeah, that's the thing.
Yeah, you're right. They can both certainly exist. It's not
School children playing a free-to-play game, very different from like the people who buy Call of Duty every year.
Yeah, I'm sure the Call of Duty buying crowd has tried and probably plays a little bit of Fortnite or PUBG, but if you can get them hooked on the one that's already going to be in their console
It's like, hey,
for a few months.
this is the thing I'm already good at, and now I can play it in this higher stakes mode. Sure, I can see it.
Yeah.
Sell a lot of crates.
Yeah.
Y'all got any other hot games you want to bring to the table?
Oh, nope.
I got one thing real quick. I only played about maybe less than the first hour, but I played this indie VR game called Pixel Rips 1989.
Oh yeah,
Have you messed with that?
I know. I'd heard of it.
You should wait and play that on a Rodeo.
Okay.
Because I think it would be interesting to see your reactions in real time to it.
I know what it is.
Yeah.
For whatever that's
But
worth.
still seeing the tricks that it pulls
yeah.
is like, there's some really mind-blowing stuff in that thing.
Okay.
Nice.
I don't want to give too many examples because seeing the spectacle of this thing is really where the value is. But like, as the name implies, you're in the 80s. You are a small school child who's way into video games.
That's the one where you're actually playing the handheld.
Yes,
Okay,
you have an in-game handheld that you play
yeah.
games on, but that you can also move around because it's VR.
Sure.
But it goes places. Yeah. Okay.
It does some really clever stuff with like, if you're interested in like bodily being in a video game or like blending games with the real world and having like, where's the line of reality, where's the game end and real life begin?
Every
Some
day.
really crazy, clever stuff in that thing.
Cool.
I haven't finished it yet, but like, if seeing life-size like Game Boy graphics in your face as if you were in a Game Boy game sounds interesting to you, like you should totally check
that sounds
this thing
interesting to me.
It's really cool.
Uh,
It's got some rough edges, like some of the production value is a little kind of low budget, but
Like seeing some of the trailer stuff I saw a while back, I was like, oh, this seems like a really cool idea.
but yeah, it's ambitious as hell and super clever.
I should mention real quick. Last week I was talking about Monster Hunter, and the crashing is fixed now. Yeah,
Well, that thing's still
for
not out
PC.
yet, right?
yeah, that's for PC. But there were a lot of news reports saying that, and streams. So the going thought was that it was a bad port for a while, but since they released that patch, it's been very good.
Cool. And that's out
Thursday.
Cool.
Yeah, but I just wanted to kind of correct that.
I've been plugging away since I was flying. I've been plugging away more at Octopath Traveler.
Oh.
And kind of, I fell off pretty hard from it just because there was not that one compelling thing to keep me going. Kind of my main complaint is a lot of it feels a little bit shallow in terms of why are these characters doing these things? Why is anyone hanging out with each other? There's no kind of through line pushing everyone through. But the combat continues as I get more and more skills and stuff. The combat continues to be some of the best I've ever played in a JRPG. I just really wish there was that one thing to keep me going. But I'll probably end up finishing it very slowly throughout the course of the year, just kind of whenever I need something to mindlessly chug away on.
Do the characters like develop any kind of like interpersonal relationships with one another?
Not so far.
Really?
I have like
hell?
halfway through doing everyone's chapter 2 out of 3, and yeah, there's very little
Weird.
acknowledgement between characters, which is a bummer.
That's just strange to me. Bummer, indeed.
All right. Guys want to talk about some news?
Yeah.
Okay. Here we go then.
Take it away. News me.
Now it's official.
Yeah,
Get news.
there it is.
News for that ass.
Epic Games,
Epic news.
yes, made an announcement last week that the forthcoming game Fortnite, the upcoming release
Mm-hmm. Yes.
I've been hearing buzz about that one.
for the Android platform,
I'm waiting for full release. Sorry.
is not coming out on the Google Play Store.
Yeah.
They will be distributing it directly from their website
Yeah.
onto your phone
There's hot APKs
via
for you.
raw APK,
Sideload that shit.
or wherever you want to download it from, I guess.
Right. Yeah.
Why?
Fill it full of whatever and download this APK and
Because they don't want to give Google 30%
Yeah. Okay.
of the fat hundreds of millions of dollars that they are making. Well, not all of that is going to be on Android, but
right. Yeah.
But and they're only doing this because they can on Android. Obviously, they can't get away with this on iOS.
Yeah, I think there was a Tim Sweeney interview where he said like, "Oh, we would totally do this on iOS
Yeah.
if we could."
Yeah.
Just a Cydia impactor version of Fortnite. Every 7 days, you got new certificate. Yeah, that's interesting. People have been obviously like fucking waiting for Fortnite Android news for a very long time.
Yeah.
And harassing everyone associated with Epic. But when is it coming out? So I guess now they finally have their answer.
Yeah, he did say I think it was what is it? iOS, Switch, and Android. They all started at the same time. The ports.
Oh, really?
And they just
Okay.
kind of got them out in the order that they got them done.
Interesting.
Um,
And I guess this means, the upshot of this is that, all the money goes through Epic's payment processing and all this other stuff. So if you are someone who, like, let's say you're a kid and a parent gives you some kind of like phone allowance, carrier billing, or Google Play Store credit or something like that, you can't use any of it.
oh, huh. Yeah, right. I
so-
totally didn't think about
So
that.
this
but
is
yeah.
a totally separate process.
Right.
And, it is what it is. I don't know. I don't know if that's a good or a bad thing. Like, I'm not
It's a
sure
good
how
thing.
I feel
These
about
kids are
it.
going to have to get out there and get jobs now.
That's right.
Buy their own
Yeah.
prepaid cards.
Exactly. And then also, that like it's often said that that even though there are a trillion zillion Android phones out there, the actual revenue that it brings in for app developers is significantly lower. Like, people on iOS are more apt to spend money on apps.
Yeah.
Um,
There's also, I'm maybe talking a little out of my depth here, but there's such a bigger range of hardware on the Android side. I
That's
wonder
the other thing.
how many of those Android phones could
are
actually run Fortnite well.
Yeah, capable of running it for realsies.
Yeah. And then, like, the biggest criticism I've seen of this is just like, hey, you're potentially going to expose people to a lot of phone-based malware like this if they end up downloading an infected APK or whatever. But their response seems to be like, yeah, we deal with the same problem on the PC. So
Sure.
Yeah, I
well,
guess.
kind of,
So
but you're going through their launcher on there. So
I guess my argument would be that that maybe this is wrong. Maybe it's wrong that I think this, but I think this that the PC user is going to be a little more tech savvy than a phone user, who might get more easily duped into installing. But also, like, that's probably already happened. There's probably already been someone who said, like, hey, you want Fortnite for Android?
Yeah,
I've
click
got it
here-
right here.
click
Click here
here
for
for
Fortnite
Fortnite.
Android. And then you click it, and then who knows what you're installing. I'm sure that's happened. So I don't know. That's just kind of the nature of, an open OS is that, it's not to say it's less secure, but it's only as secure as the people that are granting the permissions, and that's the end user of the phone. So
the downside here it being like maybe easier to trick a kid who's on his mom's phone.
But the thing is even if they released it through the Google Play Store, you would still have cases of people going like, do you want free V-Bucks? Click here to install.
Yeah.
And, people installing all kinds of bad shit that way too.
Do you have free V-Bucks?
Yeah, you want free V-Bucks?
Yeah, I need
you to join my PS4 community.
Okay, I'll do anything. Do you need my social security number?
Yeah, I need your social security number.
Done.
I need a credit card.
666.
Okay, all right. Let me write this down. Okay.
66. 6669.
Okay, nice. I'm gonna write this down, and then you'll get your V-Bucks and a little something else for your trouble. Sweet. Just also invite 50 friends to my PS4 community.
I've got 60 friends.
Great. Invite 60 then, I guess. Maybe we'll get a little extra kickback there. Nice. All the V-Bucks. Think all the hot skins you'll get.
In other game makers exiting walled garden news, Fallout 76 is not coming out on Steam, says Bethesda.
Yeah.
It's only coming out via the Bethesda.net launcher. Although their wording is a little ambiguous. Let's see. The full statement that they gave to PC Gamer is the PC version of Fallout 76 for both the beta and the launch will be available only via Bethesda.net, not on Steam.
So at launch,
yes,
is the wiggle room there
for both the beta and the launch. So that almost sounds like a foregone conclusion that it will come to Steam maybe 6 months later or something. Like they just want that initial run of the bulk of sales to themselves, and then eventually they'll put it out on there. But like this,
do they have a launcher currently?
Yeah, they've had it for a couple of years.
Yeah,
Jason, you don't keep your Bethesda.net launcher updated?
Guess not. What are they
Elder
serving
Scrolls
out there?
Online, the card game.
Yeah,
and
for
Quick Champions.
For a long time, Quick Champions
that's
you can
right.
only get on there, but it's been on Steam for a while.
Okay.
Yeah.
I mean this. I saw this yesterday and I was just like, yeah, of course. Like it felt like we came out of E3 just saying like, oh, got to sign up for an account on everybody's launcher now because everybody was pushing their launchers.
Yeah.
It seemed like it was inevitable that it was going this way.
And they've given themselves enough wiggle room there that and that service, the Bethesda.net launcher, is like nascent enough that if they then later said like, all right, we're putting it out on Steam, like they could.
Yeah. And
still tie it to a Bethesda.net account, because I think they already built that process for Quick Champions and the other stuff too. Where you tie all your logins together to their stuff.
Kind of like how Uplay works already.
Yeah, or Tryon Worlds, and, like these zillion other launchers.
Launchers inside launchers. It's
Warframe launcher,
Do you think if it comes out like 3 months or 6 months later on Steam, people who already bought it on Bethesda.net will be able to transfer it over? Probably not.
Probably not.
I don't think it works that way.
Yeah.
Because like I mean, I saw forum threads popping up after this news full of people very incensed that they would not be able to have this game on Steam.
I mean, it's kind of a bummer with this one specifically because it's such a socially focused game.
That's the big one. Is like
and how many
building out your friends list.
Yeah,
building out your friends list over and over ad nauseum is just not.
There has to be a better way.
If the Steam launcher launches the Bethesda launcher, then yes, I want to say that you can. I've played some MMOs that it is shared between the services. But if it's running in the background, there's no way.
Maybe they come up with some kind of friend import or something,
right?
Along with this,
I wonder.
And then you have other situations with a lot of these free-to-play games on Steam where, like, Warframe's a good example of it. There are packages that show up in the DLC section on Steam, but then there's a ton of stuff that's just on sale in the game itself. And so they kind of have like different offerings depending on where you're looking, and those offerings that are in the game itself are often the same offerings that you would see if you had downloaded it outside of Steam and all other stuff. I don't know if the cut's different if you buy it with the Steam version of the game.
Yeah,
but,
I wonder.
I mean, a game of like Fallout that isn't necessarily going to be some free-to-play DLC microtransaction powerhouse. Maybe you'd never see that type of activity. But
you think the Discord people have to be licking their chops at news like this? Because the way that they're they're integrating like game activity stuff in Discord at a more fundamental level now, like that is going to become.
Isn't Twitch doing that as well with their launcher?
Maybe.
Twitch distributes games through the Twitch Prime stuff, and I think they sell some stuff too. But I don't know if it has a launcher for just like games for everything you have installed or not.
Yeah, I'm not.
But
I'm
Discord
not sure.
added
Thought
that
it did.
recently, where it's just like here's a quick bar
Yeah.
launcher for all the games you have on Steam, I guess.
Like if we're getting to the point where you're literally going to have 8 or 10 launchers
Fuck.
installed to play all the PC games, then maybe you just use Discord to keep track of everything. Like
Yeah.
with centralized friends list and kind of
That games
spool out
tab
from
and
there.
their launcher is like not ideal.
Yeah. But it's new, right? I mean,
yeah,
there's room for improvement.
yeah. There'd be room for better content integration. I would anyway. Well, whatever. Yes, they're just getting started on that stuff. And yeah, I guess maybe they have. I'd like licking their chops. I don't know, because it's not like they don't sell the games.
No, but it's an opportunity to consolidate more people on their platform
Sure.
to manage their friends across 8 different services.
Yeah, yes, you're right.
That's what I mean. Like, kind of people stop looking at their Steam friends list as their master friends list and kind of start looking at Discord as
I
that.
have already done that.
Yeah.
But I've never used my Steam friends list for much of anything. But you can't really. Well, I guess if games choose to integrate with Discord, you can handle invites through there, can't you? But like, I don't think it handles game invites, at least not by default.
Yeah, that.
No, but it makes it easy. It makes it a one-stop shop for like, okay, what's your BattleNet launcher
Right.
name?
Yeah.
What's your
Yeah.
Bethesda name?
You can
And-
tie all that stuff
And
in.
being able to see what people are playing,
Yeah.
regardless of
Yeah.
platform.
I thought that Xbox integration they did was smart. Like, now it will include, even though that can be a little weird, of just like, hey, do you want to play this game with me? It's like, no, I'm playing it on Xbox.
That has
that-
weirded me out every time I launch the Xbox Windows 10 app and see
right, and it
like
pulls
my
in
friends
Dota.
have been playing Dota 2, and it's just
Yeah.
like it's because there's no platform specification
You're right,
there, so
yeah.
it's just this mental disconnect of like, wait,
It's a
that's-
little strange.
That's not an Xbox game.
Well, it's weird because like the list of things that the Xbox app recognizes as games, it's like it's wider than you would think.
Yeah.
It's not Dota 2, it's RetroArch.
Right.
It's hey, you've been
Oh,
playing
wow.
MAME.
RetroArch I would not have expected.
Hey,
That's-
someone on my friends list playing Citra.
That's
You're like,
weird.
oh, whoa.
Huh.
huh.
Spotify.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, yeah.
What a mess. Let's see.
I actually think the Spotify integration for Discord is pretty cool.
Yeah, it is.
The like listen together stuff is a neat idea.
Wait, does it like sync
Mm-hmm.
stuff up?
You can like drop
Really?
playlists in, and
That's
and
kind of
sync.
cool,
Yeah.
I guess.
Really?
Interesting.
It's fun. You can kind of almost get back to turntable FM,
Yeah.
Yeah.
but not far enough, because you don't have cool big heads.
Let's see. Yet more storefront news because everybody loves it. Apple unceremoniously apparently just yanked their affiliate program
Yeah.
last week, or did they? I'm actually not clear. Did they yank it
they
on the spot, or
announced-
they
no, they
announced,
announced
it is
it would end.
It is going away.
September or
Okay.
something.
Okay, so a couple more months. Yeah, this is just kind of your standard referral program of like people link to games on the App Store with a referral code embedded, and if somebody buys through that link, they get apparently a very small cut.
Yeah,
It used
they
to be
had-
7%, and apparently that went down to 2.5%
Yeah,
last
they
year.
flashed it last year.
Yeah, and now it is going away entirely. And like the big deal here is that the remaining iOS games coverage sites apparently like almost fully rely on this program to
Really?
exist. So even like Touch Arcade, which
Right.
says it's the biggest of these sites out there, said like, yeah, our continued existence is in doubt now.
Like they already had to switch to a Patreon when they made that initial cut, and then this was kind of like a final nail in the coffin situation.
I
Yeah.
think, if you look at the App Store on an iPhone, they've been running their own editorial operation
Yeah.
for some time now. And now they're just running articles about like what I'll fucking load it up right now. What the fuck is even on that thing? Because it's always just like, here's an article that's like kind of a roundup.
Yeah.
Games for non-gamers, and it just shows like Trivia Crack and HQ and all this other stuff. And then they've got a separate games tab now that's just like, here's the new stuff, here's some lists, here's like what we're playing, more games you might like, out some top some of the same stuff, but like they're just running editorial stories,
Yeah.
readable stories about games.
That
Do they read as legitimate coverage, or do they read as like thinly veiled marketing copy?
It's stuff being written by the people that running the store.
Right.
So, they've got a vested interest in selling you the stuff. They're not going to like say like, hey, this game's shit.
But I mean, there's so much stuff that they
Right.
can't afford to point you to legitimately good stuff
yes.
and still make plenty of money.
yes.
Yeah. And
You would hope they're
so I
not
think as they've been growing that operation, I bet at some point they're like, and also they sell a hell of a lot of apps. I'm curious. I would be curious to know how many people actually got pushed to the store through an affiliate link. I didn't even know they were still running this program. I thought that it was gone a long time ago. it's a bummer, but also like I could see the Apple side of it of just like, does this actually provide us with meaningful value? Like paying out this affiliate fee, is it actually leading to discovery of apps on a scale that matters, or have we been doing that job better than them for some time? And let's cut it off. Like I don't know.
Yeah. The upshot is, it seems like this may well lead to the end of independent editorial coverage of iOS games, which seems bad. You tell me.
Yes, but I'd also say that like the nature of affiliate income is like on its own kind of a weird thing.
That also seems somewhat subject to abuse, because if you're getting money for sales, wouldn't you want to tell everybody that everything is worth buying? I'm not accusing anybody of anything.
No, but
I'm
like
saying that potentially
the end
exists.
game of that is if you're not trustworthy, then no one's going to follow those links, and you're not going to, But also, yes,
it's more. I think of it more of a reward to the sites that are already doing a good job, rather than incentive to become a bad editorial coverage site.
Yeah, obviously, it's a bad survival strategy to steer people toward stuff that's not good.
Yeah, but I feel like affiliate income, like I'm not opposed to it. Like, I would not be opposed to us running something similar to that down the line for whatever, but. Like we had check prices links on GameSpot years ago, and it was an okay service. And they made some money as kickback on some of that stuff. I never knew what the percentages were. But yeah, I don't know. It never. That money never seemed like it would be enough to sustain a thing for a length of time. Which I guess when the raise got cut and they started a Patreon, like that makes sense. Yeah, I don't know. That's a rough one, but I guess I could see why Apple would not see value in it also.
Yeah. Jason, we touched on this briefly in the Evo chat.
What's that?
A bunch of announcements got made.
Oh yeah, at Evo. Yo, seriously,
run
this
down
was
the line real
yeah.
fast?
I think last year was the first year that they really had like a ton of like announcements from like a bunch of different companies. Street Fighter has always gotten out there and it's like, oh, here's our new season of characters.
It seems like if there was like an announced NetherRealm game, there would always be like a character drop at Evo for these past few years anyway. But last year seemed like the
slowly getting up to that too, with Noctis reveal.
Yeah.
And we talked about like the Tekken one already. That's Anna Williams, Lei Wulong, Negan from The Walking Dead.
And two other characters that haven't been revealed.
Yeah, because this is like their new season worth of stuff.
Wasn't Anna a pre-order bonus for the game out of launch?
No, the wedding dress for Nina Williams, I think, was a pre-order bonus. That sounds right. Okay. Something like that.
All right.
But Dragon Ball got an announcement. Cooler. Who's that? Is that someone cool?
Frieza's brother.
Yep. Okay. Gotcha.
He's cooler than Frieza.
Soul Calibur.
He's not canon,
just
Jeff.
some old mainstays. Okay. Astaroth and Sung Mina.
That seems to be like the Soul Calibur strategy, is just to slowly say, hey, everybody you like is in this
Everyone
game.
is here.
Everyone's here.
Because they've already got
no Cervantes yet, though.
Yeah, no Cervantes. We talked about it like a week or two ago, how franchises should be sticking more to their core roster than getting crazy like with Street Fighter. Street Fighter had their announcement. They had somebody dressed up as these are previously announced characters, as G, who is the president of the world.
Yeah, world president.
And then Sagat as well, which is great.
He's fighting Abe Lincoln.
Yeah.
But
G I wanted to talk about in particular. Yeah. They actually had like the voice actor, whomever, like come out in cosplay and do his routine in front of the Evo crowd. And I wanted to ask you guys, how well did that go over? Because at home, it was hurtful. It was painful.
Yeah, about the same.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
It was
good to know.
Let's just say
strange character.
Let's just say people less and less are falling for Ono's antics.
Yeah.
His shtick.
Is Ono still out in the public eye?
He still does the like everyone do a Shoryuken thing and I'll take a picture.
That's kind of cute and endearing and whatever. But he thinks he's being funny when he's coming out there and he's announcing G.
I'm more.
And they're out today.
Yeah,
Sagat and G.
that was a cool announcement. It's like, okay, and they're available tomorrow.
I'm more of a Harada man myself.
Yeah, Harada.
Harada comes out with a shirt that says, "Don't ask me for shit."
He was talking some real good shit on Twitter.
Yeah, he
over the
was.
weekend
And
to people who were calling him out on stuff.
In
He did
particular, people that were asking for like Anna Williams and for Label Long.
He did a funny thing where he's like, congrats to the Evo finalists, blah, 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 blah. He's just like talking about Tekken. And he's like, that's it. And this is where you all boo because I didn't announce anything, right?
Yep.
And then everyone booed. And he's like, roll the trailer.
Hang on, I have to find the tweet that I saw of his.
Good shit.
They announced the Arxis World Tour.
I didn't hear about.
Yeah,
it.
so
Cool.
now they're doing kind of a Capcom World Tour event where they're going to have tournaments all over the world, America, Japan, South America, Europe, for Guilty Gear, Blaze Blue, and Cross Tag.
Sweet.
All are getting their due, and then the finals are going to be, I think, in LA sometime next year, probably late next year.
Speaking of Blaze Blue Tag, they
Oh yeah,
the 6 new characters got dropped yesterday as well.
Oh, like released?
Released.
Cool. All right.
Yeah,
I'm
available for
behind.
download.
I gotta.
I
got
played them all last
Akihiko.
night. Yeah, Hockey Hiko, who I thought was broken. I
Good.
tweeted out something. Yeah, there was a combo that I did that wasn't actually a true combo, but I did it in a training. Did like 3/4 health, and I'm like, what the fuck? Why is this? This should not be. And then somebody pointed out it's not a true combo, dog.
Did you
I'm like,
play
oh, shit.
any Street
Deleted the
Fighter?
tweet. Yeah, I played a little bit of.
I played some G.
Sagat. I played some G. He's got a cool fucking move set.
It's a bummer.
It
'cause
is
he's
a
so
bummer.
lame.
He is
but like
my least
some of the
favorite
moves,
Street Fighter character in history. So
I like
far.
how he looks a whole lot. I don't love his shtick.
You like him
Oh.
ironically.
No, I like the way he looks visually because he's like a
Oh.
weird gorilla
He
man.
really is just Abe Lincoln.
Yeah.
Yeah, I guess.
Huh.
And so
He's got that weird gold tattoo
Yeah.
that like he
The
keeps
moves.
moving around his arm. You can barely
Yeah.
see. He just
So-
looks like shit.
there's
I don't like
he's got a move. It's like it's down twice and then 2 kicks, and he just starts giving a speech, and
Oh,
the
like-
speech builds meter.
Like
and,
Mika's thing when she cuts a promo.
yeah,
Yeah,
but
yeah.
it's like 15 fucking like how long is Mika's if you let it all play out?
very, very long.
Okay, all right. Well, this is long like that, and it's like he's just got a speech, and if anytime you let off the buttons, he just clears and goes, and then gets back into the fight.
That's pretty cool.
And it's
I like his moveset
dumb.
an awful lot, and I just wish that it was packaged a little better.
I don't like the look of the character.
No.
I don't, and like
As a
man,
further trolling thing, one of his costumes is a Q outfit.
Yeah.
They've been doing that a lot.
Yeah, I know. But I don't know if I'm supposed to take this character seriously. Like, are they earnestly thinking that he's a cool character?
I think the roster in Street Fighter has spread out in so many different ways that like there's no joke characters, that just some of them are just goofballs,
Yeah,
and
I get
some of them are
goofball.
weird. Like
I mean, they released him at the same time as Sagat, right? So you have like Sagat who's serious and people
Yeah.
know it's Sagat, and he
Scott
does
looks
this-
really fucking good.
Yeah,
like his
he's got a
costumes are really
focus
good.
attack.
He's Sagat is cool.
Did you
as
see the
shit.
thing where you can enter a code when you are loading in and it unlocks a different costume for him?
Oh no.
Pre-order code?
Yeah,
Urian had that too.
Oh really?
Yeah, he had his naked.
It's like his cloth
Naked costume.
classic. Yeah.
That's
Nice.
cool. But I don't know.
If they're seriously trying to peddle this guy as like a cool character,
Yeah, G is terrible.
Oh.
But
I
also,
don't think they're trying to peddle him as a serious cool character.
They
But
brought
also,
him
like
out.
I also
He's president of the world.
I know. And that that type of like bravado like fits in with like the really shitty Street Fighter storyline.
Yeah.
Like I could see him in this cutscenes like earnestly talking about being the president of the world, taking over social media.
I mean, Abigail's whole story mode was about somebody stole his car, so
I
he's
like
going to go
that.
beat people up
See,
because he
that's
wants to
nice
go
and
vroom
goofy.
vroom.
that I believe though.
yeah.
World president, come on. No, but I honestly, Street Fighter needs to continue to evolve, right? Like
Yes,
it can't just be the same thing forever. I get it, but I feel like through the roster of this game, they went too far in terms of just like, here's some goofy dumbass characters and also weird characters. I feel like Street Fighter was the base template for a fighting game for so long, and now they're like, I don't know, what if we just you hit this and he, does some fucking weird speech, and hey, we're gonna have this character do all this weird stance shit, and like it got away from it a little too
It
far.
still
for
has
my,
it.
Yeah, and it still has it. I
Yeah,
guess
like, it
that's
still
the
has
thing. I
those
don't
base
have to play as those characters
Right.
and whatever. But I guess I'd say like I feel like it cheapens Street Fighter. I feel like they have
cheapens Street Fighter.
I feel like characters like G have cheapened the value of the Street Fighter roster and the storyline and the
I don't know. You have
in a
characters
way
like
that-
Sodom and shit that I don't think he's too far off.
Sodom, when they first released Sodom, like there was
You
no
ever see
real
his trucks,
story.
man?
There
Oh
was
my
no, like it's only when they started writing more of a story for it, you're like, they kind of tonally got away from the cool shit here. But like when Alpha was coming out and it was just like, here's like 3 lines of dialogue and whatever, there was nothing wrong with it with Sodom.
I don't know.
He's fine.
Um,
Yeah, he's got a cool truck. You should check it out.
I feel like Hakan was the last good new Street Fighter character.
Goofy one, yeah.
Yeah. And everything since then has been like, I could, you can oil up Hakan. He'll slide real far.
Yeah.
What I'm saying is bring back Hakan.
Yeah.
I just wanted a small platform for me to hop on and say that I'm not behind G. I don't like him at all.
He does not have my vote,
No.
but Sagat is good.
Sagat.
Sagat could be world president.
Fuck yeah. I'd vote for him. Maybe I'm just sour on presidents.
Yeah.
Maybe that's it.
Problem
Yeah.
with authority.
Yeah.
Mm.
I found this
I've
Harada
been told
tweet.
that.
Somebody was well, I guess numerous people were complaining at him about not making bigger Tekken announcements at this
Mhm.
thing. Somebody was saying Evo is not just every event, it's special. Fans are waiting for something. This person also effectively said it's a bad marketing strategy not to announce something there.
Oh, well, thanks, boss.
He responds and says, if I did not understand the marketing strategy, Tekken would not be the top share of fighting games and series sales. Shut your mouth and watch streaming or eat delicious pizza.
Got him.
And
Yeah.
eat delicious pizza.
That's right.
Yeah, Harada rules.
Just
Even if that guy is popping off and being kind of a jerk on Twitter, Harada still wants that guy to enjoy delicious pizza.
yeah,
That's pretty nice.
what a guy.
That is pretty nice.
Artifact,
Yeah.
the Dota 2 competitive card game, got a price and release date. It will be $19.99 on November 28th.
Not free.
No.
Oh no, yeah, they've announced that.
So I didn't see this confirmed. I saw people talking about the prices of card packs. I don't know where are they just speculating?
Yeah, I haven't seen any firm.
I couldn't find any like
either.
legitimate information on that.
I
I
know.
think it was more just people were pissy that you will have to presumably pay for card packs on top of the base price.
There was a Dota streamer based in the Philippines, I think, that accidentally broke embargo on a few things, but he made it seem like you get kind of a base starter deck that, and I guess decks have something like 5 heroes, 9 items, and it's like 21 other cards, and you kind of build a deck around that sort of thing. Like the number of heroes and items is set in stone, sort of, but then you'd be getting booster packs that maybe have like 1 hero and 4 other cards and stuff like that. Probably includes a couple boosters with the initial purchase.
And I assume they would do different rarity versions of the card, not necessarily to have like gameplay differences, but you want to have a foil.
Yep. And all that stuff will probably be in the Steam marketplace, buying and selling cards.
Turn the cards into dust, turn the dust back into cards.
Yeah.
Puff
I'm
the
interested in
dust.
checking it out. I mean,
Yeah, I want to play it.
It's playable
Like-
packs.
yeah. Richard Garfield makes some good card games.
Yeah, so I hear.
What do you do? Like Crazy Eights? Like
Yep.
what are we talking
Yeah.
about?
Go fish.
Yeah.
Oh, shit.
Yeah,
All right.
seriously. Classic.
It was just fish until he got involved.
Wow.
Do you think there will be any? Well, maybe if I was more familiar with his work, I would know the answer to this. Like, do you think there'll be any kind of like action component at all to this game, or is it a purely numbers based?
No, this will be a hard-ass card game.
Because I think about some of the stuff that's popular, like in mobile, and granted, this is not debuting on mobile; it's just PC at first. But like Clash Royale could be considered a card game. You build a deck, but there is also a positioning component of where.
Well, yeah. So I mean, this does have 3
so
lanes.
that's why I wonder, because there are lanes.
But
and
I
there
think
will
it's
be-
just in terms. Yeah, I think it's
Where
like
you lay the cards.
maybe a more somewhere in the middle of a Clash Royale and an actual card game where you are choosing where things are deployed. But that's even the case in Hearthstone, because there are like things like, okay, give armor to the 2 units on either side of the one you play. Like
yeah.
board order
So-
matters.
And,
and-
the card game in The Witcher is
Yeah,
very
Gwent.
much like Gwent has like positions on
That's
the board.
so. I
and
guess
stuff,
Yeah.
too.
those are the elements of positioning and timing.
So I
and
think,
not
yes.
just a purely abstracted turn-based mechanics thing. I wonder. Yeah, I don't know.
not like Magic where it's
yeah,
just
right. Where it's literally just cards. against cards. I'm curious to see it. It's like as little as I'm playing Dota, I would play something like this based on Dota.
Totally. And I bet there'll be a ton of integration between the two.
Yeah.
Think about what the wheel on the battle pass is going to get you next year.
Oh God, if they start what? Man, if they start like dropping artifact card packs out of Dota purchases and stuff, that's
You know they're gonna.
filthy. I don't know.
You know they had to do it to them.
Fucking you think the treasures are just straight up going to start having
No.
cosmetics and cards in them?
What was they got out and apologized about Treasure 3 or something?
Yeah, it was
Yeah,
bugged.
drop rates were bugged, and the people are still convinced that they are bugged in a way that they didn't fix it like they said they fixed it.
Whatever.
One other Evo story I forgot to mention. The top winner of Smash is giving away some of his winnings to the lesser winners, which is pretty awesome.
Yeah, Leffen, Swedish player. It's funny. He has definitely made a turn. At one point, he was banned from Smash Boards, which is like their community. He was banned from commentating in Europe. He was kind of a heel because he was a hot shot. He was coming up. He was the first guy to like beat the 5 gods, which were like the ruling
So is this
class for a while.
You think this is a little bit of image rehabilitation?
But
As one of the 5, I can say we were pretty bummed out by the way he acted at the time. but-
He actually got his visa revoked and was banned from entering American tournaments for like a year and a half. And at that point, he did a lot of soul searching, maybe about his personality, and he started getting better. Like he placed top 64 in Dragon Ball Fighters. Like he's out there now, and I think he's done a lot of good. He's doing a nice little face turn, and yeah, he tweeted out that the 5th place winner for Melee at Evo, which is the biggest fighting game tournament of the year, was making like $128.
Yeah.
Which is not even close to covering a hotel or
Right.
And he was a free agent, right? So this is all coming out of pocket for that guy.
Yeah, the total prize pool for Smash was $13,500. He got about $8,000 for taking first place, and then like you said, 7th place got $130.
And he said like if they didn't want to accept the money, he would do it in a charity of their choosing.
Yes. The quote along with that is, "What can I say? LeBron inspired me."
So that's cool. I saw a lot of people talking about, actually not even in just fighting games, also in Dota, about prize distribution and top-heavy tournament structures and kind of what can we do to make it more appealing for the 5th through 8th place finishers, or even 5th through 32nd place finishers.
Got a mouse pad. Here you go.
Yeah, exactly. It's like, if you're not the best of the best, there's still it's a huge commitment to make it out to one of these tournaments, even if you're sponsored.
Right.
Yeah, you need to make sure you're still fostering a healthy competitive scene.
Yeah.
And not just a
And
small,
this
small
was for
handful.
Melee?
Yeah.
Do you think Melee makes it back to Evo next year? Do you think that
That's
now
a big
that there's with a
discussion.
new Smash coming out, like that maybe this is the time, or does 4?
Four's gone.
Is that one gone and it's just Melee and the new one?
Yeah, and I think the new one gets a finals day.
Hmm.
I think Nintendo has enough sway over them that we see Ultimate on Sunday and Melee on Saturday.
There's too many people
I could see-
registered
but
for
I could see-
Melee, I think.
Yeah.
There were more for Smash 4 by
Really?
one at one point. I don't know about the
Yeah.
final numbers, but oh god, the Smash 4 finals. Did any of you guys hear about that?
The walkouts when.
Well,
there
so
was a-
first of all, it was Bayonetta versus Bayonetta, which was to be expected by almost everyone. Half the audience walked out, and then the players just were disrespecting everything. They were stalling at one point, just like charging shots at each other, and like
Why were they stalling? I don't get it.
they were just having fun because they were friends. But like all the Japanese players who flew out were like tweeting about like they're making a mockery of this thing that they would like do stuff where they'd KO and then suicide, like just
to keep it even.
even.
Lame.
People were talking about possible match fixing.
Yeah,
This that's all speculation. But what it was clear is they were like having fun with Evo finals.
Yeah.
But a lot of people saw it as disrespectful.
Maybe take Smash out completely then.
Yeah, I mean,
maybe Smash doesn't deserve a finals day if the players aren't gonna take it that seriously.
At
then,
this point, the Evo and Smash, or the Melee and Smash 4 players are almost completely different.
Yeah.
Not many people are entering both. But I think the Melee scene.
and sorry, was this Smash 4?
Yeah, this was
Okay.
Smash 4 finals on Saturday night.
All right.
But yeah, that was definitely the last Evo for Smash 4. I think we'll see Ultimate there next year, and I think Nintendo will have a push for it to be a Sunday.
If I were Nintendo and I had to like negotiate for like are we going to allow you to play Smash at your event, all that other stuff, in the interests of pushing the new game, I would probably say get Melee the fuck out of there and get 4 the fuck out of there. There is one Smash Brothers. Everyone will play this one Smash Brothers. Everyone will buy a Switch to, in terms of just like Japanese company marketing strategy, like wanting people to flow to the new game, I would not allow them to continue to play and stream Melee.
The thing is, they didn't do it with 4. When 4 came out, they didn't push out Melee.
Right.
And enough people bought and entered 4.
Oh,
that
yeah.
it probably
Whatever, the
worked out
game
for
is
them.
popular.
And even all the Melee players are going to buy Ultimate.
Of course they will. But in terms of just
I
like...
want to say they actually tried to do that with 4.
Yeah,
I
want to say that it was that there was that
Like
week
Nintendo
or so where it was weird.
Yeah.
I want to say
Like
that
Nintendo
might have been one of the
wasn't
sticking
going to allow
points.
Evo to have the game.
In 2013, yeah.
Yeah, and then they kind of reversed that decision, and I'm sure that's because I don't know. That's my speculation, anyway, is because Evo wanted Melee included, and
Yeah, it just
Nintendo
brings
maybe
so
didn't.
many people
Wanted
in.
to move
I think
on.
it was right around the same time that Nintendo was getting weird about streaming stuff.
Yeah.
Also.
Okay.
Yeah, when they started doing that YouTube
Yeah.
partnership.
I'm really
I want
just
to say it was all around
speculating.
that
I have
same
no
time.
idea for sure.
I've talked to someone at one point, and I don't remember the specifics of it, but
Okay.
but I know they worked it out, obviously. Yeah, I don't know. Like I feel like that's a lot of time to devote to multiple Smash games. And I get that, like, obviously,
And it's a
like the
logistical
player,
nightmare
the logistics
for
are
Evo
weird. Like,
with,
obviously,
like,
the player bases are
CRTs
different, and
and-
there's enough people that want to play both that maybe it's deserving of it. But yeah, the CRT stuff, like
Get the
at some
CRTs
point,
out of there.
yeah,
Jesus.
at some point, people should probably move on.
Yeah, at some point they
Right?
will, but
With
like
their lives.
the thing about the scene is it's still
It's not, but it's not like when Marvel came out, this last Marvel, were people still playing 3 in a big way, or
there were more people playing 3 than Infinite.
but like in an official capacity like this, in like proper pools at Evo and all this other stuff,
Yeah,
did
like
they have an
Infinite
overlap
d-
here? Like, I'm curious. Like, I don't actually know.
Infinite didn't even it got time on Evo 7,
Yeah.
Okay,
That was
and
like
so
the-
did 3.
yeah.
And I saw the results of
Well,
3.
I guess I don't even mean this year. I mean, like,
Oh.
when Infinite was just coming out,
This
did
is
everyone?
this is the first Evo for Infinite.
Yeah.
Is it really?
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay. All right. Yeah. For some reason, I thought it was there last year. I guess that game's not that. That feels like a fucking lifetime ago, doesn't
It
it?
really does. It really does. I had to think about that, but yeah.
Yeah. All right. Yeah. I guess I don't know. Because I was gonna say like Marvel. Like the thing you always hear is like the community always moves forward. They never move back. Once they've all
This was
moved
like the
on to another
first-
game, they don't move back to it. They suffer through the bad
Yeah.
game,
But
or
in
and
this
it goes
case,
away.
They have an alternative in
Right.
Dragon Ball.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Those people,
That's-
just like jump ship completely.
And that's why we'll see Slap City at next year's top
Yeah,
8
there you
Sunday's
go.
Day.
Yeah, it's interesting. I don't know. Like, I guess I don't really have a fucking dog in this fight either way, but I just feel like logistically, and as a viewer that might want to watch some Evo, it's a whole lot of Smash. It's way too much Smash.
Yeah.
Like, if they could just get everybody to rally behind one of those games and say, hey, how about we just get twice as many people entering this? That'll be some fucking hype ass shit. A lot of people playing. That'll be cool, right? It'll never work out that way, but boy, that'd be cool.
Yeah, I would. I agree.
One Smash to unite them all.
I hope that day comes. I hope Ultimate's the
Some
game.
kind of like United States of Smash or something. Just so they could have like a worldwide. If G
Yeah.
Yep.
could be
President
the
of
world
Smash.
president,
That's what he's
then
trying to do. Is just
maybe
get
we just need
everybody
a
to play
world
one fucking
president.
Smash.
So you need to put G in Smash. Oh, they also announced the
This
biggest
was great.
the biggest booze I've ever heard at Evo. Nintendo. It's like, hey, here comes a special announcement after the end of Melee, and then there's a screen, and it's like Smash Direct coming
Yeah.
8/8 or whatever, like some date in the
Tomorrow.
future. They announced an announcement
Yeah.
of a and
There were
everyone just
the whole row in front of me stood up from their seats when we were about ready to
Melee HD!
Exactly.
Ah, no.
And then as soon as they saw,
That's the joke. That's the
Yeah.
running joke. Whenever
Okay.
there's a Nintendo announcement in the Melee community,
Yeah.
it's like, oh, this is going to be Melee HD.
You people already got Ridley. What else do you want?
You got Snake back.
But less butt.
Yeah, that would cost.
All right, last story. I hemmed and hawed a little bit about whether to cover this, but some people wrote in asking us to. But so yesterday morning, IGN ran a Dead Cells review alongside a whole lot of other websites. Last night, a small YouTube channel called Boomstick Gaming ran a video entitled "IGN copied my Dead Cells review. What do I do?" Where the author essentially went through this review and pointed out a whole lot of very striking similarities to the text of his own review.
Yeah.
As of this morning, that review has been pulled from IGN.
As of last night, even.
Oh, was it
Yeah.
pulled last night?
Yeah.
Okay, there's no timestamp on this editor's note. So now instead of the review, there is a note that says, as a group of writers and creators who value our own work and that of others in our field, the editorial staff of IGN takes plagiarism very seriously. In light of concerns that have been raised about our Dead Cells review, we've removed it for the time being and are investigating.
It's weird.
Yeah.
That it's. I watched that video this morning, and as when it starts, it's like, but
Yeah, it's like, it's
man,
maybe a
the
bit of
more-
a reach, but
the more you watch,
yeah.
From what I
Yeah.
understand, it was this guy's first video review, and the only thing that I can think of
This
is
is a staffer. This is not a
Yeah,
freelance.
this is a staffer.
That was my
IGN
first
staff.
first thought when I saw this
Like,
was,
it's
oh,
gotta
they
be a
must have
contractor.
freelanced that one out
yeah.
Yeah.
to somebody they didn't have a lot of oversight over.
But no, this is a staffer that's done other stuff.
Yeah, this
But
is
the only thing I can think of is that he was feeling the pressure from his first video review, running behind on that, and just like, I don't know, like it was too easy to just take somebody else's review.
Yeah, but whatever the
Yeah.
reasoning, I mean, this is this is a cardinal sin in the
Yeah.
editorial
Oh,
business.
yeah.
There is
That's,
there's no walking this back.
Yeah.
that is.
that's day
this
one
is-
of
this is-
journalism
yeah,
I'm
classes.
gonna
Yeah.
say like that's a half step short of career ender right about there.
Yeah.
Sure.
If that's how it ends up going down.
Yeah,
Yeah,
But yeah,
like
like
there's
as-
no like, and you start to think about like, well, why would anyone even do that? It's
Right.
not like having an opinion, like it ain't hard.
And you're working for like the biggest gaming site, and the odds of that person finding
second biggest.
second biggest,
Uh,
depending on metrics. Sure,
yeah.
I like the idea that they would never come back and see this, or like, are you
Jesus.
even thinking of? I don't know. I've never plagiarized. I don't know what the thought process
Right.
is.
or and even like, because they sent out like access to this game has not been hard to come by. Like
the,
we've been
final version went out like shockingly early,
yeah.
like 3 weeks ago or something.
I got to roll that back. I plagiarized in 9th grade a report on Marquise de Lafayette in Humanities
How did
1.
how did it make you feel?
It
Felt good,
when
didn't it?
when I got caught. It was real bad.
Okay, well that seems bad.
Turn it into .com.
Yeah.
Turns out it's not a bunch of bullshit. It
Oh,
works.
Wow. Okay.
I plagiarized when I was in 6th grade. I was late for an assignment, and we had to write like a poem or something like that.
Mm-hmm.
I wrote the lyrics to Skid Row's 18 in Life.
Nice work.
Okay,
How'd that go for you?
They kept it in my folder as
Uh-huh.
like a really good example of writing, and
Nice
they,
work.
they would give that folder back to you year after year to see how you've like progressed, and it's like,
Nice.
oh yeah, that's when I wrote.
You should tell Skid Row that your
Yeah.
teacher really liked the.
They
Yeah.
loved it.
that child blew a child away. I mean, it's a tragic tale.
Yeah.
Ricky was a
Deep
young
stuff.
boy.
It's deep stuff.
I know. For a sixth
So yeah,
grader.
like was there just some deadline looming? Because like the game went out weeks ago. Like
Yeah.
as
And
someone
it's been
who
early
has
access for a while, which
Well,
I know
yeah,
is not
that
the final
too.
version, but you can
Right.
get impressions going. And
so then you start to, was this specifically for the Switch version or something like that? Like maybe that.
yeah, he
version?
was a Nintendo editor.
Okay, so I
So I
I
assume-
don't know when Switch versions went out. We got PS4
They came out a little bit
weeks
later.
early. Okay. All right.
So
So
a week or two at least.
I'm
but-
just trying to like walk through the thought process or just the logistics of like how something like this happens. Like you have probably a relatively junior member of staff. And again, I'm speculating. I don't even know who would be afraid to say, "Hey, I'm not getting this done.
Yeah.
Hey, this game's fucking hard. Hey, I haven't made enough progress to feel like I can review it." And then they turn in something anyway.
Yeah.
And they take this shortcut.
Jesus.
Like that's the only scenario I can envision in my head.
Same.
You
Still,
ask, you
doesn't
ask
excuse it
for
by
more
any
time.
means.
just yeah, sure.
In these situations, if you need it, you take it.
Setting aside the ethical issue, though, I just don't know how, with the scrutiny that everything gets in 2018, you feel like you can get away with something like this.
Yeah, that's just dumb.
Because it's video, like it's not written down, right? Like
So is it,
what
is it
he
it's
took from
phrases from a video that got
Yes.
used in a okay?
Yeah.
Like there are too many people looking at too many things too often for somebody not to notice these
Yep.
similarities.
No,
Like,
yeah,
just-
I mean social media and all this other stuff. Like anyone can get at anyone at any time and say, "Hey, did you see this?" And like there's no
all it takes is one Reddit post for this to become a very thorny issue for
Yeah.
IGN to have to deal with.
seriously, because now they've got to go back through his other stuff.
Yeah, that was the
you know.
that didn't even hit me at first until I saw somebody point it out. But like, yeah, that calls into question other work this
Yep.
person has done.
That's why I'm saying like it's
Shit.
it's practically a career ender at that point.
Yeah.
Because you're like, all right, well that's like who's going to hire that person next?
Yeah.
Going back and going forward. You
Right.
you gotta,
Yeah.
Right.
That's
Like,
that's
if
a
he
lot.
goes forward.
There's a reason that names like Jason Blair are so infamous.
So the site that was plagiarized. So he's looking for like compensation,
Well,
right?
the tweet, his response to when the review was tweeted out, his response says, "No hate, man, but I wish I was cited, collaborated with, and or compensated in some way
Right.
for the healthy views your site saw on your Dead Cells review."
So he does want some form.
So
of,
I don't know if that's just him kind of
no, I read something
being at a loss, or if he
I forgot
is there-
who
is he actually
interviewed him.
seeking something somewhere
Yeah,
else?
that he was seeking compensation, because they did get a bunch of like advertising money for those impressions or whatever. And that he did, yeah.
Ad game being what it is, I would not call it a bunch of money
Yeah,
on
I
a
know.
Dead Cells review.
Yeah.
Those were his words.
But sure.
Those were his words. And that he doesn't want this person fired.
Hmm.
But I mean, that's
I mean-
it's
I mean-
not his
It's
call.
like, but if you
It's
are
out-
going to
it's out of
fire
your
him, you know
hands.
who wrote
Yeah.
the original review.
Yeah.
Uh,
Right.
I well, whatever. I mean, they will conduct their investigation and make their own managerial decisions, but I don't see any way that you don't part ways with somebody in a
and this-
situation
It
like
also
this.
sucks for everyone else at IGN who's like
Yeah.
doing a really
Yeah.
good job of trying being journalists. It's just like, oh, it's so easy now for people to be like, oh, IGN, blah blah blah, plagiarism. It's a bummer.
The thing I'd say though is that like once, and when we get this, like people have made up their minds about IGN one way or the other, and
It's just fuel for like trolls.
it is, yeah, and so like, but the thing I learned after years of trying to make sure reviews were as buttoned up as possible, they've got plenty of fuel.
Sure.
They're going to be there being shitty one way or the other. You never want to give them any bit of rope, obviously, but whatever.
You're saying
People-
haters gonna hate.
Yeah, exactly. People are going to suck ass. Suck asses are going to suck ass, is what I would say.
And the sucker's gonna suck ass.
Yeah.
Sorry.
Yeah. I don't know. You're right. It's hard to see a way through this where this person is still employed unless it's just a hell of a coincidence.
Yeah.
But fuck, man, I don't see how.
Because I mean, the problem is exactly what you say. This gives people a massive amount of ammunition to impugn their credibility as an outlet, unless they take a clear stand.
Yeah, yes, that would
this
that would be the
is-
one case. If they were to go forward and keep this person on, then suddenly you've got new fucking meat for people to grab onto.
Like broadly, it is just a massive hit to their
Meat
credibility.
grabber's gonna grab.
Yes,
Yeah.
definitely.
Like it's just it's a big hit to their credibility, and the only way they can kind of like wash their hands of that is to say, no, we disavow this entirely.
Yeah, I mean, there's no way that review, even if they conduct an investigation and find like somehow like, oh well, it sure is weird. It's a weird coincidence. I guess we'll see how it goes. And they never put this text back up.
Definitely not.
Even in a case where you did have some coincidence, like they replaced the text.
Yeah.
This game gets re-reviewed.
Yeah.
By someone else. Gets a new score. Gets a new everything. That's I feel like the bare minimum. Even if you found no wrongdoing somehow.
It's a high score. 97.
It's a good fucking game.
It's pretty good. But yeah, like you said, it's a really unfortunate situation for the other people at IGN doing good work.
He was just too busy playing the really good game. Couldn't be
Who's got time to write anymore? Here's the secret: just don't write the review in the first place. Talk about it on the podcast.
All right, well, Now it's time for emails, and I'm just going to scroll down and find the email that is more or less about exactly this.
Oh, really?
Even though it's buried in this giant list of emails.
There it is.
Here it is.
Bombcast@giantbomb.com.
This was going to be like email number 12, but here we go. Walter from Garden Grove. I don't know where.
Garden Grove.
Yeah. Is writing still fun? With the lower priority on written reviews on the site, do any of you get the urge to write anything long in your spare time? Not necessarily game or site related, but is there ever a temptation to write about a certain topic or even short stories, fictional or biographical? With all the articles and reviews since the GameSpot days, is the act of writing still enjoyable, if it ever was? Or do video and podcast content types fulfill that creative itch?
I think there's plenty of room for all of it. It just is a matter of time and different outlets for us to express ourselves. And I think that, so like here's a very real world case that I've run into, because I've been thinking about like reviews and us and all this other stuff a lot lately, in terms of just like what form something like that would even take nowadays. The Crew 2. I have aggressive pent-up feelings about the Crew 2. I feel like it is a bad game. I feel like they shipped it very incomplete. They put out a press release last week saying, our monthly content drop, it's 2 new cars. And I just read that and went like, what the fucking fuck? Like, that is so not what, that is the opposite of what the game needs. In terms of just like missing features that a driving game should have in 2018. I played a significant amount of the Crew 2, but did not finish the Crew 2. I don't know if it's a good use of my time to go on and finish the Crew 2, but if I did, it would be so I would be that much more bulletproof in writing a review. The Crew 2 is a 2-star game. I know that already. No number of events that you unlock later is likely to change that, but I guess I can't say for sure. So writing a review right now and putting that score on it seems like it would be weird. But the last thing I want to do is waste more of my time when we could be doing things with other games and other stuff for people that would be new, is to play that chunk of time for the Crew 2 just to get a score out there, just to get it on Metacritic, or whatever.
Yeah, there's definitely with the types of content we're doing now, there's just a basic cost benefit analysis of how much more how many more man hours would it take to do this, and is it worth it?
Yeah, it never gets quite so cold as
I mean,
that,
I'm not saying we're
but
crunching a spreadsheet,
yeah,
but like you kind of think in the back of your head, like, okay, this is a 30-hour game. Do I
Like,
play
I
another
could,
15?
And also, this is now probably the 4th time I've talked about the Crew 2 in a pretty negative way between this show and UPF and the Quick Look and all that other stuff. Like, I feel like the take is out there.
Yeah.
And so is there additional value in then going the rest of the way to write the review? And I would say yes, but only to people who are not with us on a daily basis. So it almost becomes a yes, and it might actually bring in people who don't know who we are already because of the ways reviews travel in a way that other things do not.
Yeah.
And so then that's, you want to talk about the cost benefit analysis of all that, like new eyeballs, blah, 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 versus the existing fan base, whatever it is. So I don't know. I think there's a middle ground in terms of just like whether it's bringing together those, because no one should have to like go listen to 4 different shows to piece together my evolving feelings on how I think the Crew 2 is kind of a scam. They sold a $100 version of that fucking game. It doesn't have competitive multiplayer. Are you fucking kidding me? Anyway, so I think there's a middle ground in terms of just like how to bring together the things we've said about a game over the weeks or whatever, and put a cap on it in a way that is review like, and so that's my thinking on it. Yeah. Right now,
I do think, and I have always felt that there is a formality and an authority to a written review that you kind of lack, maybe just out of basic tradition,
right?
But to address the basic question of is it enjoyable or do we miss it? Like, I don't know about you, but like I have that respect for the written form on the one hand, and then on the other hand, I hated everything I ever wrote. So, like, there's that disconnect, of like, yes, I respect people who do it well, but I don't like the output that I come up. You know what I mean?
Yeah, and honestly, like when it comes to other stuff like columns and stuff like that, I think the discipline of writing a regular column has only gotten harder in an era where I have like my thesis statement for a column is a tweet, and then you tweet it, and then the feeling of I should write up a column completely gone.
Yeah.
Like the number of times I've done that and been like, shit, I could. No, the moment has passed. I said what I needed to say. It turns out I only needed 2 sentences to say it. Yeah, I think that the number of places we have to say stuff about games, this show, UPF, Quick Looks, the different types of like game focused coverage we do, as well as, you know, just people asking questions on social media and stuff like that. Like the stuff gets out there. But yeah, I do think that there's, you know, that's also expecting everyone to follow everything we do, which plenty of people do. And thank you if you're out there listening. That's awesome. But we can't necessarily lay back and expect everyone to piece together the narrative. I mean, again, using the Crew 2 as an example of just like, hey, listen to this chunk of this podcast, and you'll get part 1 of the Crew 2 tale. Then watch the quick look. Then, hey, the following week I said this about it. And now here I am again saying, don't buy the Crew 2. Maybe there's some value in saying like, hey, on our review style page, we've got links to those things if you want it. And then also I've written up a little thing that says, hey, don't buy the Crew 2. Hey, don't buy the Crew 2.
2 stars.
Forward this to Metacritic.
But there's times that you're compelled to like write something like Metal Gear Survive. Like, you know, you had spent so much time with it.
It's the same feeling I have right now about the Crew 2, except I was angrier for longer and stuck with it to the point where I felt like I could write the review.
Gotcha.
Whereas enough stuff was coming out around the edges of the Crew 2 release that I never had time to go back and like hate play the rest of it to get it out. And that was something like, I think it was Eric Wolpaw wrote a GameSpot review at one point where he just like straight up, it was
that's
the
Wolpaw's law.
It was just like, it does like
if I hate this game in the first hour,
if the last level, if the last challenge, if the last event of the Crew 2 is amazing, does it nullify everything that came before it?
yeah,
no.
like you still had to suffer through garbage to get there.
I've had a bad fucking time with that game.
Yeah.
And I haven't even played it in 2 weeks, and I'm still this pissed about it when it comes up. Yeah, so, you know, maybe that's the thing of just like you could make the argument that in cases where a game is bad enough that maybe you don't need to finish it. And I think that was always the case of just like, you would never use that in a positive review. You'd never be like, oh man, the opening hours of this game are so great. It's a 4-star game. I don't need to finish it to tell you that.
Right.
But going the other way, it's like, oh no, none of this slog is worth it. I don't care what's at the end of it.
Yeah. Yeah, at that point, you enter just a basic question of how much your time is worth, or how much a prospective player's time is worth.
Right.
You know, if you're going to say to people, hey, this game really opens up in the last 2 hours, but the first 10 are terrible.
And I think there's a case to be made for like that being like writing a scored review of a game you did not finish. In those cases, I think you could say that's valid. But I think that also like people have gotten so hung up. And in the same way that people got hung up on this like illusion of objective reviews,
it absolutely skirts that territory.
I think that people have gotten into this mentality of just like the only valid review is from someone who finished the game.
Yeah.
And I think that reviews themselves have grown, and as people's takes on games have become more personal and varied and all this other stuff.
And as games have gotten more complicated in exactly how do you review a multiplayer focused game, right? How do you review these games that are evolving
and live games that do evolve and stuff like that. I mean, that's the other thing is like someday, December, I believe they've said, the Crew 2 will have a competitive multiplayer.
Yeah.
I don't think that's actually going to save it. That's not going to suddenly make it an amazing game because it's got a longer list of things that push me away from it than that. That's just the burning example of just like, this thing should not be on shelves yet.
Yeah, there's plenty of examples of games that eventually get better or good, and it's like those are carried by word of mouth. Like, oh, hey, this game's good now, or whatever. You don't need reviews for that.
Look at GameSpot's got, I think they have multiple reviews up because that was part of us rebuilding Giant Bomb and rebuilding that interface, and then GameSpot got rebuilt on the same framework. Part of that was initially they wanted the ability to re-review games and have multiple reviews of a game. And I want to say, because they have a review of League of Legends at launch that was like some kind of 6.
Yeah.
And it's one of the biggest games in the world. I might still say it's a 6, but hey, what are you going to do? But, like at some point, is that a valuable, other than the historical information of just like, hey, back at launch, people did not love League of Legends. It doesn't serve anyone these days. And at the time, if you went to GameSpot's page and it had a review of a game, the review was the top thing you saw forever. Even if you were doing ongoing coverage of a game because it was a live game. So, at some point, like that page type just needs to evolve to say, hey, the review is still here, but it's maybe not as valuable as this reporting on this patch or this reporting on this. Maybe that's actually the thing. And putting the number right there forever to say League of Legends is a 6, maybe not actually the most valuable thing. I think, we've tried to address that in a few different ways over the course of Giant Bomb's existence as well, with varying degrees of success. But I think we did at least recognize, like, the review, it's a point in time.
Yep.
And that's all it can ever be, unless you are signing up to update that review forever, which, fuck that. No one's got time for that.
Not even possible. Okay. Here's an email from Steven in Arizona. The Def Jam Twitter account put out this, and he links to a tweet that says, pick a city with an image attached that says, which one would you want to see next? Def Jam fight for ATL, fight for LA, fight for Shy, fight for MIA.
Miami?
I guess so.
No,
yeah.
MIA, the singer. Yes.
Miami.
It's not fair. She can bring a gun.
Why can't they fight on all those places?
This email was sent before Evo, but he says, provided this hasn't been announced at Evo this past weekend, what would your pitch be for a new Def Jam fighting game?
To not announce it at Evo.
What city would it be in? And more importantly, what would the roster be? Can we have Killer Mike tag in LP as an assist? What would Kung Fu Kenny's moveset be? Would the Peach Panther throw down with some of those sick wrestling moves he never ended up doing much with anyway?
No, they would not put Riff Raff in a Def Jam game.
No.
I just don't.
Probably.
I don't see it.
Probably
I don't see it.
Yeah.
He doesn't roll with the right people?
Yeah.
I don't know.
This, and to be clear, this is the Def Jam Recordings Twitter account that put this out, like the actual record label.
Who knows if they're actually like, I mean,
I think they're full of shit.
That might just be like a, hey, we want to get people talking.
Yeah.
Social media stunt type thing.
You think so?
Like, or they could be talking to EA about doing something. I don't know. Because the fight for blank blank.
Like, that's just a game thing, right?
Yeah.
That doesn't have any other.
Those were Aki Engine wrestling games.
Yeah.
And then Def Jam Icon was the one that was, a different kind of, its own thing. And not just a wrestling game with rappers thrown in it for whatever weird reason.
Yeah.
I think Chicago, if it was just a story about Kanye versus the people that run his charity or ran the charity that was named after his mom, Fight for Chicago.
I feel like ATL could be fun too.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's
You
what
could do Outcast, Migos.
I think, but I think like in the other two games, like the cities haven't necessarily
That's true.
made the roster decisions or the music decisions and stuff like that. It is kind of from everywhere, even if it is fighting for a city. But I
Could
think
you do like a King of Fighters where there's team based, like 3 from ATL?
there's
three
too
from
many from each
Really?
city.
Okay. Yeah, how do you pick?
Yeah, you wouldn't want to narrow it down to just 3 people representing a region or a city or something like that. I think you could, but
We
I
have rap snacks as power ups.
yeah.
Yeah, you're right, because
Some hot Cheetos and Takis.
it's like Fight for
Shark juice.
New York had like Snoop in it.
Right.
So
And he was the boss.
it's definitely
Yeah.
not all like New York.
Well, they had
He
that
still
video
is a
where-
boss.
they
Well,
did a video
true.
where they crushed the buildings, and it's like there's a
And
whole.
Ludacris is Atlanta, right?
Yes.
Yeah, so he's in it too. So yeah, the city had no bearing on who
So,
got to appear in the game.
I think the roster
Right,
could be
Jeff,
the roster.
who's top tier? In the new Def
the
Jam.
game just got in a fist fight with a teammate at some celebrity sports thing over the weekend.
All
I
right.
think you put him back in it.
How relevant is Def Jam as a label at this point?
I mean, how relevant are record labels?
Well, I
like
guess,
the,
but-
the larger.
Yeah.
I don't know. Russell Simmons has not been out there in the public eye very much as of late.
Yeah.
Weird.
Yeah, weird. So I don't know. I don't really hear the Def Jam name that much, but they still are a recording label and I'm sure some kind of lifestyle brand. They must do something.
Who's the Ryu of Def Jam?
Method Man.
You mean just like, is he on? Well, I don't know if he's actually signed to Def Jam.
Oh,
but I think
in the Def Jam universe.
in the fighting game hip hop universe.
Yeah.
I could see.
Yeah.
Him. Yeah, Method Man's a good choice.
Who's the Ken?
Does that make Redman the Ken?
De facto, maybe.
Yeah, Redman is a little wilder. Like
Yeah.
I could see Redman trading power for speed.
Yes.
Fire.
Yeah, and fire, definitely more fire.
Well, that's what the red is from.
yeah.
Fire.
Yeah, I don't know.
Fat Joe's totally E Honda though, and that's not just because of the size thing.
I would put E40 in there in a Honda like role.
Ooh,
Who's the Dan?
Flavor Flav.
Yeah. No, I was gonna say that Tekashi 6ix9ine is the Dan.
There you go.
Drake is the Dan.
His son is the Dan.
Oh yeah.
Hidden character, actually.
Right. Very hidden. Extremely hidden.
All right, Stephen from Scotland. Having never really been a Sega hardware fan, I've only recently found out about Bernie Stolar and his role as president and COO of Sega of America in the 90s. Has there ever been anyone in a similar role that has done so much good and bad in such a short span of time? He seemed to kill off the Saturn by claiming it wasn't the future of Sega, but also seems to be credited for a lot of the early Dreamcast success before it was crushed by the PS2. I also saw a video that claimed he single-handedly canceled Streets of Rage 4 for Dreamcast
Oh, fuck that guy.
because he was unaware of the previous games in the series, but I have not been able to find further confirmation of this.
I've never heard that.
Also, when did he
but-
come on? After the
I
Genesis?
don't actually know. Yeah, after,
Like,
after the Genesis.
Yeah, okay, I guess maybe.
Because he was like running things, because he was like post Kalinsky. Like Tom
Okay,
Kalinsky was
sure,
there
right.
through all the Sega, the 16-bit stuff.
Okay.
Um,
Because there's no way you're at Sega at that time and not know what Streets of Rage is.
right.
But
also like that was maybe one of the first cases of, I feel like people like players out there, consumers, just actively talking shit
Dude,
about an executive.
I don't even know why, but in my mind, the name Bernie Stolar is infamous from that time.
Yeah.
Like I remember all this ire being directed
Yeah,
at
it
him,
was
and
a
I
lot of,
don't
like-
even
but-
remember like what
Yeah,
decisions.
it was like
Remember what
it was like
for.
as message boards were kind of being
Yeah.
more and more of a
Yeah,
focus, so people
yes.
just had a space to bitch.
Yes.
And they complained about Bernie Stolar a lot because, the Sega had a lot of stuff that was coming. I mean, fuck, man, that Dell song about video games complains about Bernie Stolar
Wow.
by name.
Huh.
Like, it's Dell offering Sega marketing tips for fucking bringing over Capcom's, bringing the RAM cartridge over specifically. Could have expanded the market. He
Well, I
says.
mean-
It's like, fucking what?
I mean, coming off the Genesis, it was a huge success and people loved it. And then the Saturn was not so great.
No, I mean, that's
and flailed
like,
in the market, so like people were just like
Like-
upset about their brand not doing well.
Exactly. It's like people were big Sega fans. The Saturn came out, got eaten alive by the PlayStation in a lot of ways. And there were certainly games that were coming out in Japan that were better than the things coming out in the US. But if you're telling me that like better ports of Capcom fighting games would have suddenly like swung the Saturn, like turned the Saturn around in the States, like, no. Like that would have been great for me who loved to play those games and wouldn't have had to import them and all that sort of shit. But it wouldn't, that wouldn't be some dramatic shift. I think any sane person can see that now.
Yeah.
At the time,
I just wanted my goddamn fighting games.
fanboys are going to fanboy.
Yeah.
And, Sega fanboys are some of the worst traditionally. I say that as someone who might take a Genesis over a Super Nintendo some days of the week. Yeah, I don't know. I don't know enough about what things were like inside Sega under Bernie Stolar. I know that like they had made some decisions that some people felt were hasty in terms of ending the Saturn and bringing out the Dreamcast. And
But that wouldn't have been his call, right? Wouldn't that have come out of Japan?
I think a lot of that stuff would have come out of Japan.
Yeah.
But the U.S. had probably, well, I mean, I don't know. Sega's such a different thing now. But the U.S. probably would have had some stroke to make some calls around that stuff. But also maybe coming out of like the 32X and all that sort of shit into the Saturn, I feel like even maybe the U.S. probably didn't necessarily have what it used to have. And Japan was probably calling more of those shots.
Yep.
And then, the Dreamcast got what it got, So I think that the Saturn and the Dreamcast, I think, are very similar in a lot of ways in that there are some beloved games and franchises, and on both of those systems, the fans of those systems think they're like, oh man, if they were just one game away from putting Sony to bed. It's like, no, there was a juggernaut there, Madden, all the other
Final Fantasy VII, Resident Evil.
You just start stacking up things that Sony was getting at the time.
Metal Gear Solid.
And then, what Nintendo was doing with the N64 and all that sort of stuff around the same time. And, the mountain became just, I think, too steep for Sega to climb on its own.
Saturn never had a chance. And it was more expensive.
It was. And I like the Saturn.
Those better consoles.
My Saturn is hooked up right fucking now.
Yeah.
I was playing some Fighters Mega Mix 2 days ago. But yeah, it was what it was. I'm not going to sit here and say, Bernie Stolar got a bad rap, because I just don't know how many of those decisions were his. But also I could see him, making decisions in the Dreamcast era about Streets of Rage. Honestly, at that time, that era, with the transition from 2D to 3D and stuff like Fighting Force, which my understanding is at one point Fighting Force was potentially being developed as a Streets of Rage, as an externally.
I think I've heard that too.
Like an externally developed Streets of Rage game, and then at some point that relationship soured. Something changed, and they made it on their own.
Not exactly a lot of beat 'em ups around 99, 2000.
And I look at a game like Fighting Force, which I thought was pretty bad. And I remember at the time thinking this genre is done.
Yeah.
And I feel like the best that genre got, at least in that era, I think you could make ties to Final Fight and Streets of Rage into some of the games coming out today. And I don't just mean the games that are, pixel homages to those games.
Yeah.
I mean, like character action and stuff like that. You could probably draw some kind of line through to that stuff.
Mm-hmm.
But the games that were deliberately trying to capture the Final Fight, Streets of Rage, Double Dragon style beat 'em up in that era, I think a lot of them were pretty bad, or they felt thin because we were moving away from arcade ports.
Yeah,
like Dynamite Deca, like Die Hard Arcade and stuff like that. Those were cool fucking games that kind of maintained the spirit of Streets of Rage and some of that stuff. But it was still an arcade port coming home. It was still a game that you finished in an hour or two, and you're like, oh, I guess I'm never going to play this again, or maybe I'll play through it again, but. Whereas Streets of Rage 2 specifically is a game I can return to every 18 months and play through again and go, So I could very easily see someone looking at an in-development Streets of Rage game, looking at the market, looking at the landscape, and going, no, this just isn't going to do it. Especially, I'm guessing probably what they were making as well. I think you could take the Streets of Rage brand and blow it up into something way bigger. But the scope of games being made at that time and what that game would have likely have been in terms of length and, it feeling like an arcade game in length, even though it was never technically an arcade game, I could very easily see killing that game and going, this is not going to do it for us. This is not going to move numbers. It's, it's going to, a specific fan base is going to play this game and probably not even be thrilled by it. Like who's to say that game was even coming together as anything worth playing?
Right.
Sega was a little all over the place at the time. I could very easily see a bad Streets of Rage game coming together in that era. So it's not, none of that's a done deal. So I guess I wouldn't necessarily blame someone for killing a Streets of Rage game made around that time.
Or a console.
I could,
for that matter.
Exactly. I could see it happening.
That stuff. There was probably a degree of historical inevitability to the fall of the Saturn and the Dreamcast. That no one decision was going to make a difference there.
No, there was a lot. There were system level differences that would have had to, like if they had made different choices about the Saturn hardware. Like if the Saturn had the specs of the PlayStation.
Right. Like if the Saturn had succeeded, it wouldn't have been the Saturn, basically.
Exactly.
Yeah. Luis from Santa Cruz. Last week, Billy Mitchell scored 1 million points in a live Donkey Kong game that he streamed on Twitch.
Congrats, dude.
However, it appears that Twin Galaxies and the community are ignoring this score, and he's still banned. Even if he cheated with MAME in the past, should future verified scores by Billy Mitchell be listed in the official
No.
Donkey
He
He says he
Kong High
scored 1
scores?
million points. That's weird because I saw him score 0.
Yeah, fuck no. He's banned for life.
Yeah, done.
Did
You
they
fucked
say?
up?
Did they say that for life?
Yeah.
Did they?
Damn.
Yeah.
He deserve, like, I mean,
But
No,
he's
We
still
just got
pretty-
done talking about this with the IGN
yeah,
situation.
like,
Yeah.
it's the
Like,
same thing.
no,
Yeah.
done.
Yeah. Some things you don't come back
Wow.
from.
Wow.
Go back to your hot sauce.
Yeah. How many points you getting on the hot sauce? You could be in the hot sauce Hall of Fame.
Go home and be a hot sauce man.
No, the Tapatio guys in the taking up all the spots.
Yeah.
Yeah. Sorry, Billy. Alexander writes in regarding American toilet seats. Those paper covers are ridiculous, and your thighs and part of the butt that actually touch the seat are cleaner than your hands just a minute after you've washed them and left the room.
Exactly.
Also, in Japan, nice washlets have heating built into the seat.
It's not about like for me, it was never about those killing germs or bacteria or whatever. It was just getting rid of liquid. Just
Yeah,
put those on.
it's about the filthy assholes that go in there and pee all over the seat.
Tell me about the
Literal.
filthy assholes.
It's the people who are holding their
No,
butts.
tell me about that. Yeah. Okay.
It's-
When they walk down,
yeah,
you
yeah, yeah.
direct them into the other thing.
You said you were looking for starfish over there.
Oh yeah. They didn't have any. They did not have any for me to touch.
Hmm.
It's the thought of people who pee with the seat down.
Yeah. Wipe
Yeah, I
the seat
guess.
off. Like setting this.
there's still residue?
Well, setting this
There's
super
always gonna be
thin
residue.
that gets soaked through immediately. Putting that paper gasket on the seat is not going to keep you dry.
No, but that shows you where you need to hit with a. It's a two-step.
Just
program.
wipe the whole thing down before you go, unless you're in a hurry and then you just deal
No,
with it.
I don't like. I don't like wiping the whole thing because at the point of entry, you never. You know, I've got a big hand, so navigating the whole thing can be tricky. But if I have targeted spots that I need to hit, I know I'm not going to get any entry point or exit point residue on my hand.
Look, if I end up with a drop of someone else's pee on the back of my thigh, I'll make it out okay.
Yeah.
It's not going to be the end of the world.
I'm with you.
I'd rather not.
Yeah, sure.
Y'all are fucked up.
Don't kink shame.
I'm with you. Clean thighs.
Clean thighs,
Save lives.
blue
There you
skies,
go.
wet thighs. You're gonna die.
Hell
Yikes.
yeah. It's a death worth dying.
Dante from Orlando, Florida. I'm curious about what you guys think about No Man's Sky's pricing on Xbox. The game is currently around $25 on Steam and PS4, but they are charging $50 on Xbox One. I understand that the game runs better on the Xbox One X versus the PS4 Pro, given the power difference, but is that a justified price increase? Haven't seen that happen to any other game that is X-enhanced or otherwise, so I wouldn't think that's the reason.
It's not a price increase. It's a new release
lack
on
of a
that
decrease.
platform. Yeah,
Yeah.
It's a new launch on that platform that they are selling for the first time at
Yeah.
full price.
Yeah.
Whereas it's
Or
been-
arguably less, because I think it was $60 on PS4 when it came out, wasn't it?
I
Wasn't it?
feel like it was
I could've
50.
sworn it was
Yeah.
a full $60.
I don't remember, but either way, it's a game that's existed for multiple years on those other platforms, and you're going to have sale pricing because you've already done all your launch pricing and all that other stuff.
Yeah.
So you're not going to raise it back up, especially on PS4, where you're then competing with used retail copies of the game because
Yeah.
it came out on disc already.
Yeah.
So yeah, it'll launch at that price, and it'll get cut just like the other ones someday.
I thought it was across the board that it was like $30.
No, it was close to full price on Xbox for now. They are patching the hell out of that thing.
I'm still playing it.
I'm just going to keep waiting.
Yeah, I
Until it's-
dipped back in a little bit last night.
I got to some big story points, and I think that story's got some issues, but it's nice that they wrote one anyway.
Yeah, I'm curious to see what they did. with that
All this
stuff.
talk about the bathroom, and now I have to pee.
All right.
If you guys want to keep doing emails, that's fine. I might
Okay.
just get up and go.
Is it dire?
Yeah, it's getting there.
Okay. All right. I guess we're done then. I had a really good.
You guys take some emails.
Okay.
I'll be back.
Okay.
Okay.
He's not
Keep
coming back.
reading the emails.
I mean,
not
this is the
coming
last one.
All right, this one comes in from Jack in Ohio.
Oh,
He says,
crap. Hang on.
"Hey Jeff, I need you to,
Name my child.
yeah,
Well, we can take over for that.
Okay.
I'm
What
sure.
do you got? What would you name the child? Is
Felipe.
Ryu.
Yeah.
Ken.
Ryukin.
that short for Kenneth?
G.
No, it's short for Kennedy.
What's his name? Masters? Ken Masters? Is that
Ken
his name?
Masters.
Is it Kenneth Masters?
Kenneth Masters
Kenneth Masters. Ugh.
of the
Yeah.
universe.
No
that-
wonder he learned how to get good at fighting. He probably got his ass kicked as a kid.
He's got a huge chip on his shoulder. All right, here, I'll read a different email that I was going to skip. Lewis from Indiana. I'm in my late 20s and recently had a mild knee injury that made me think about how improper care of my body could limit my ability to do the things I love when I'm older. I fully expect to be playing games in retirement with my great-grandchildren, but I'm afraid that a lifetime of typing away at a keyboard at work, then going home to press buttons on a controller will destroy my hands. You guys have been playing games for just about as long as games have been around. Have any of you ever had any issues related to video games? Do you do anything to keep from wrecking your hands while you play? Surely this is something you guys must worry about too.
I do
Yeah.
a ton of hand and wrist exercises
Yep.
that I learned while watching. There was some Smash tournament, and they brought in a doctor who specializes in like hand care, and she was, because there's that game in particular gets a lot of people who just fucking destroy their hands playing Smash. So she just
I
like
wonder why
taught.
that one.
It's
That
about
weird
the
ass
GameCube
controller.
control.
God
Yes,
damn it! I
yes,
knew it.
Yes.
The thing is a crime.
It is. But she ran down like, here's some simple, just like do these, whenever you're going to have an extended session. And so I took those in, like a lot of wrist rolls, stretching the hands back and pulling them down like this.
Do you know if there's anything you can Google to find like
I'm sure you
ergo approved?
I think she had a YouTube channel.
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay.
So yeah, like basic stuff like that are always good.
About 10 to 15 years ago, I started getting real bad tingles and like numbness up the bottom along like the bottom of my hand, wrist, bottom of the hand, and pinky. And I got wrist rests. I just got like gel wrist rests for my mouse and
Did
keyboard,
that?
and it totally went away.
Oh,
I've never
wow.
had it come back. So
Yeah.
I would say definitely get wrist rests in my experience.
I've got diabetic like neuropathy, so I've got like tingling sensations, and then this thumb has some weird nerve damage, like right here. If I extend the thumb too much, shooting pain, or if I try and do like double quarter circle motions too fast,
That's bad.
yeah, that's
That's
my,
bad for your chosen
that's my
genre.
career,
No
dude.
excuses.
So
You lost because you lost.
Shit. So we put octogates in the arcade sticks, which I actually hold them differently. Like when I'm facing right, I can do uppercuts with just by pressing with this part of my hand. Whereas if it's square gate, I have to like bring it back with my thumb, and it's right on that spot.
So you're saying next ranking of fighters, we got a coin flip after every match to see
Yes.
which
Cool
side you get.
To cool me off, yeah.
What if you just started using pads instead?
No, because I can't
Oh,
do
yeah.
the double quarter motion.
I peed all over the seat. That's what we were talking about.
Yeah.
Cool.
Okay, great.
How'd
Great.
it go?
Yeah.
How'd it go?
Well, I wanted to be back here quickly, so I figured I shouldn't wash my hands, which means I shouldn't use my hands
Good.
in any capacity while I was in there. So I just pee all over the seat.
Good.
That's fine, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
I mean, next time just pee your pants. It'll cut out the middleman.
Okay, yeah, that's fine.
Which bathroom did you go to?
All of them,
Okay. Shit.
like spinning in a
That
circle.
was fast.
Yeah,
I'd say keep your hands warm. I
Yeah.
have tendonitis in my hand, so
There
makes
you
it a
go.
little weird.
Yeah. Get some,
I,
get some hand warmers.
I feel like we are on the verge of maybe discovering that all these big phones are going to destroy people's thumbs, because I've started feeling like
Oh, yeah.
doing just like scrolling or like having to touch the corners of the screen.
Oh, you're talking
and having,
specifically
like-
the giant phones.
Yes, the larger the
The ones you
phone,
have to
the
reach
more you have to
for.
move your thumb around to reach the different corners of the screen
Yeah.
for things you might be doing.
Or they're going to be super buff afterwards.
Yeah, my thumbs, specifically my thumb movement has been feeling it ever so slightly when I use my phone for a length of time.
Interesting.
We're gonna
If
need
I'm
some,
like, oh, I'm typing a bunch of stuff or whatever, like I
For me, it's my neck with the phone.
we need some ergonomic like hand
curved
rests.
phones.
Yeah, there we go. They got curved screens. They can do that.
What if we had smaller phones
Oh,
but
no.
Yeah.
magnifying glasses?
No, because my thumbs are too big. They're too
You
fat.
can like double tap a button to make the screen move down so you can reach it.
You can do that,
No,
yeah,
I know
but
that.
I don't.
What
That
if we
was- that was
just
the joke.
had Google Glasses?
Okay.
And that way the phone is here.
Yep. The phone is here. What if I inject the phone into my eyeballs and it grows an organic phone
Yeah.
and cures my color blindness?
Yeah. What if you
More
do that?
rods, more cones, genetically modified phones in my head, and I can talk to anyone I want, man.
And you can look at anything you want at any time.
Yeah. Yeah.
Brad, hit me.
Okay, 2 more quick emails. Kenny, if
Kenneth.
100 of Nicolas Cage's characters parachuted onto an island, who would win the chicken dinner?
The Weatherman.
Castor Troy.
Ooh, probably.
Ghost Rider. Actually,
Superman.
National Treasure guy.
I'm going to stick with Ghost Rider.
I'm gonna
The
wait.
Weatherman gets second.
Yeah, I'm gonna wait until there's legal betting for this.
Yeah.
Depends what kind
Yeah.
of scope they find,
Kind of Nicolas Cage salty bet.
Mm-hmm.
It'd be the guy from Snake Eyes with prep.
Oh shit! Yeah. I was
Yeah.
gonna
If he has
say
time to
Snake Eyes.
prep, then yeah.
All right.
Raising Arizona.
Ooh.
Last
Pretty
email.
sneaky.
He's going to make top 10 just by avoiding everyone, though. Just
Leaving
by
Las
running.
Vegas.
Cameron Poe.
Sometimes an email is just so weird you just want to read it and see what happens.
Please.
Devin from Regina, Canada. This email is entitled Sophibo's Choice. Let's say Miyamoto makes you the new president of video games.
Hooray.
Hell yeah.
You are given 2 choices. Ass Effect or Shitman. How do you address this crisis?
Shit, man.
What?
What's the
I mean, if I'm
crisis?
president of video games, I'm gonna.
That was my response when I read the email. So
I would fix Ass Effect.
How would you fix it?
I don't know. I would tell other people to do it.
Yeah, the president is
f-
like a figurehead. You just
More
kinda,
alien fucking.
I got it.
What?
Okay. We're going to use element 0 to create
Eezo.
a spatial barrier between the rear end, your thighs, and the toilet seat.
Okay.
That's the
Yep.
ass effect.
All right. Yeah.
Oh,
A sanitary hovering barrier over the toilet.
But let me hit you with this counterpoint. If you put money into shitman tech, then you're going to be working with a man whose sole purpose is efficient shitting. And that way you don't even have to worry about barriers or whatever, because if shitman is there, you're working with the top of the line shitting tech. You've got it's gonna rising boat lifts all tide sort of thing, where if now we're designing bathrooms with shitman in mind, you're gonna be new toilet tech. There's gonna be new sanitary tech, because shitman's gross. People are gonna figure out, okay, how do we wipe up after shitman? Self-cleaning toilet seats.
So I think you're thinking of
Where's
Shitman
this
as like a
going?
mascot-like character, like a booger man.
yeah.
But I think Shitman is a Pac-Man ROM hack where all the ghosts are replaced with poop emojis, and so Pac-Man eats shit.
Different
And he
colored
loves
ones.
it.
Can we tie the two together somehow?
Like pink poop.
probably.
Yeah. We can definitely. Yeah, we'll tie it together somehow.
Okay.
Does the poop have a bow in its hair?
That's Ms. Shitman.
It depends if you
I
eat a
see.
bow.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. Well, now we have a podcast title. Thanks for emailing, everyone. Bombcast@giantbomb.com.
One time we left for a long weekend and we came back and my dog had gotten into the garbage and she pooped out 3 butter wrappers were just sticking out of the poop, like she just swallowed them whole.
Oh, no. Wait, does that
And,
mean your dog ate a whole stick of butter?
Well, it was just like she went through the trash.
Oh, the trash, right.
Yeah.
Mhm.
And from that moment I can still like very vividly picture just it looked like a poop emoji but with just
Yeah.
and so I imagine if she ate a bow it'd be a similar
We
effect.
Dog just hanging out all weekend by itself?
No, we had somebody come in and
Ah.
like walking and stuff,
Okay.
but
Feeding it sticks of butter.
We had a dog ate a plastic bag and then it pooped it out and it looked like the poop was in the bag. And I was
Nice.
like, this is really
Cool.
convenient.
it's
Wow.
efficient.
Yeah.
Huh.
All right.
That's a hot life tip.
That's my new life hack is feed.
Feed your dog
Don't-
plastic jars.
Don't
do that.
Don't feed your
Don't
Don't
please
plastic
please don't do that.
Do it to yourself though.
Yeah.
Then-
No, don't either.
Well, then you use a
Don't-
plastic bag.
Don't let
on
anyone
the-
eat any plastic bags. I'm
All
going
right.
to make a
Toilet
hot
Okay.
take here.
We have to end this podcast before we hurt dogs. This is it. We're out of here. After show coming up.
Hell
next. Keep listening for the after show. Thanks for listening. We'll see you next week. Bye.
Today's show is brought to you in part by Starbucks Double Shot. Starbucks Double Shot starts with bold Starbucks coffee and is blended with milk for a smooth, creamy, and delicious flavor. It's enhanced with ginseng, guarana, and B vitamins. You're sharper when you've got more energy. Starbucks Double Shot. It's energy to do things you actually do. Find it in your local convenience store.